as I've told you guys, I do still make money on gameplay videos. Nowhere near as much as I used to, and certainly not a ginormous amount. I just want you guys to understand, it's like a minuscule amount of my income a month, but it's still some income. If I were to not be able to make any money on YouTube ever again, because gameplay videos are now considered children's content you can't advertise on, that would really destroy me. Like, that would hurt huge. Would we be able to make up for it possibly if we had a surge in contributions on streams? Yes. It's not undoable because I don't make a ton on YouTube, but still, it would hurt me really badly. All right.
How you guys doing? This is DSP News second edition. I'm your host GTG, and let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, first things first, a few PSAs, if you will. For any of you guys who follow the brand Snortbucks Coffee, I should say, and whatnot, I'm sure some of you will be happy to know that there is an official Twitter account for Snortbucks Coffee. I'll leave the link of it down in the description. What it is essentially is Snortbucks Coffee is the brand of the detractors, if you will. And this Twitter account, you can follow it. It has a lot of the commercials that I've used on the main account. I'll use some of them here later on down the line with moderation, of course. but a lot of the commercials that you've seen me use in the broadcast on my main account, or on the main account, if you will, you'll see them there. You might even see some artwork. People can submit artwork. You're gonna find a bunch of stuff over there. And the account was just launched by Chio18, who was the one who birthed all of this. Big ups to Chio18. And so she just launched it. So with that being said, it's a brand new account. I already went ahead and retweeted some stuff on Twitter and whatnot, so you guys can find it a bit easier. And if you choose to, please start following it and whatnot. It's very much appreciated. And you might even be able to make recommendations for different drinks, so on and so forth. It can be something fun to kind of brighten your day up in between broadcasts and whatnot. So definitely check that out if you get a chance. I'll leave the link of it down in the description, so it's easier for you guys to get to. As well as big ups to Loco Slam, who, as you guys know, is the curator of the Goutopia Museum of Unnatural Art. I will leave the link to that Twitter account down in the description as well. If you're not following it, please do. A lot of the screenshots that you hear me make fun of or I point out over here on this particular broadcast, you can sometimes find it over there. You can add funny captions to yours, whatever captions that you have with Phil. You can go ahead and tweet it there, and it'll be retweeted, so on and so forth. So yet again, another fun time. As time goes on, I plan to try to promote a lot of accounts like this, as well as Sunspot Gallery, Paul W, so on and so forth. Like a lot of the people who are making their way through the DSP sphere, if you will, and whatnot. And I think you'll enjoy a lot of them. And some of them are actually in the comment section too, so you can always big up them, check out their YouTube channels and whatnot. They all make great content, so that's something you guys can look forward to. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of PSAs for right now, and let's get to why you guys are actually here. Let's see here. Let's go back to that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you guys back to 2016. Now, if you guys remember the last broadcast, we went over, well, it should have been the last broadcast. We went over contract negotiations, which was also in 2016. That was actually, this is only a couple of days apart, to be honest with you. Well, about a week, a little over 12 days. So now we're going to go over a status update for the streaming business, and then input for January of 2017. Should be a good video. It'll give you, yet again, I'm trying to give you guys an idea of not only Phil as the individual, because we're going to dig deep on that, He's deeper than what he's digging in on his wife. And but also, I want you guys to hear some of his thought process as it pertains to the business, air quotes, before it turned into utter shit. You know what I mean? I want you guys to really see and hear the mistakes, because there was a lot of them. There was a hell of a lot of them. And a lot of this stuff could have been avoided, but he was lazy. And I want you to see him crumble, essentially up to the time that he gets dropped from Machinima, even after, but don't worry, we're going to go back even further. So this is just another stepping stone, if you will, into whatever it is that I'm building over here. Also, big ups to, my bad, sorry. Big ups to Karma Kid. I don't know if he actually watches anything on this channel, but if he does, yeah, man, I sent you a DM, and I guess it didn't go through for whatever reason, my fault. So I'll just go ahead and resend it to you the next time I'm on Twitter, man, and whatnot, and I'll reach out to you there. And so big ups to Karma Kid. Let's see here. I think that's basically it, guys. Let's go. Like I said, we'll go ahead and get into this nonsense. I'm gonna take you guys back to 2016, and let's see what we make of it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News 2nd edition. I'll see you guys in a few.
DSP here with a special vlog. I actually was thinking today a lot about a bunch of stuff that's going on. I talked about some of the stuff that I'm going to discuss tonight in this vlog on my pre-stream earlier today, and I said, you know what? Rather than only be discussing this on pre-streams and stuff, let me make a formal vlog, because I have a kind of a cumulative list of stuff that I'd like to go over with you, to let you know how things are going with me in the business, to let you know what I'm planning for the next few weeks, and to get, and most importantly, I really feel, feedback from you, the viewers, in regards to what to expect, at least in the next month or so, as there's going to be a lot of downtime between now, December 28th, when I'm actually filming this vlog of 2016, and really the next major new release, if you're not aware, it's going to be Resident Evil 7, which is near the end of January. So we're talking a good 3 to 4 weeks here of kind of a span of time that I'm going to need to fill, obviously, with content for you. And
now the irony in a lot of that, right, is with Resident Evil 7 coming out in his timeline, which is 2016, and our current timeline, our current year of Gout, Resident Evil 3 is literally like a day away. I mean, a lot of YouTubers are already playing it, but you know what I mean? Like, it's literally a day off. So I find that to be kind of funny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give our introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with, let's see here. Oh, we are here with the King of Hate Vlogs status update. Let's see, yeah, status update, streaming business and input for January needed. This is from December 28th of 2016. Now, let me frame this a little bit. So in our last video, we went over his contract negotiations. That was from December 16th. Essentially, he basically laid it out that, hey, I'm going back to Twitch. I mean, he may have tried to be coy about it and be like, oh, well, you know, that's the popular streaming site, and you guys are saying that I'm streaming too much over here on YouTube, and, you know, so on and so forth, so I'm just going to end up going over there. You know, I might have to go over there, and that's against my philosophy. I don't want to ruin the video if you guys haven't seen it yet, because I ain't already carved him up all kinds of fun ways over there. But that's essentially, amongst other things, because he said a lot of other stuff in that video as well. But that was basically what he was going into, and then his three-pronged plan for DSP Gaming, or for the DSP Gaming family, if you will. This right here is, like I said, about 12 days later. So if you guys have seen the video that preceded this, then you're all caught up. If not, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can watch this one and then go back and watch that one, and you still get the gist of it. So that is what that is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're working with. December 28th, 2016. Let's go.
Really, the goal of this video is not only to get you caught up, but to get discussion going about what kinds of stuff you want to see from me in the next several weeks. Simply because the bottom line is I need to keep going. And what I mean by that is, you know, we've been very busy since the summer. If you remember, the summertime, there was a lot of downtime, so I was doing a lot of downtime projects and stuff. But then as soon as September hit, it was new releases, new releases, new releases. And yeah, let's be honest here, every new release wasn't exactly the biggest, hypest, most successful slash really most delivering on entertainment kind of game. In fact,
I thought Phil said this is this is willfully ignorant Phil, and also in combination or in conjunction with desperate Phil, because that's the only time he really asks for feedback from anybody is when he's desperate. But aside from that point, why is it that he had to say that it's not the most hypest release and whatnot, or not the best games, or so on and so forth, when only a couple years later he said that he hates hype. He hates YouTubers and streamers who falsely hype games to make them seem like they're better than what they are. That's being dishonest. And if you make great content, people will come out support it without the hype. But right here in 2016, that's literally what he was looking for. Granted, that's what he's looking for now. That's what he was looking for when he made that original statement. But do you guys see some of the contradictories? He's quick to go ahead and shit on people who overhype a game that, i.e., he doesn't like. But this guy has been fishing for hype games since the beginning. That's why he played, well, in his earlier days, he would play almost every new release because he was riding that wave of hype. So who is he, of anybody, to be calling someone shills, calling them hype well, he doesn't call them hype beasts, but you know what that is. They call people shills, to make false advertising claims to get people to buy terrible games or to come out and watch their content. They're not being honest. Who's he to do or say anything against those people when in actuality he's done all of that himself? Something to think about. Hopefully you guys got your Snortbucks next to you, because I do. We're going with French vanilla piglet. It's a delicious blend of French vanilla with a scoop of French vanilla ice cream and that slight saltiness, that slight undertone of saltiness. It doesn't overtake the sweet, but it's there. It gives you those hints of, if you will, of flavor. Here we go.
A lot of the games this year ended up just kind of being not as exciting as we all thought they were going to be. You know what I mean? With that being said, there's been enough new stuff to carry me since the summer until now, and now finally it is slowing down, especially this week, where I finally wrapped up a lot of the ongoing stuff that I've been doing, including my playthroughs of The Last Guardian, Dead Rising 4, and the reviews, and now I've officially finished my Final Fantasy 15 playthrough, which has gone on for the greater part of a month, and I just reviewed it last night on KO Gaming. So with all that stuff wrapping up,
oh, speaking of which, someone had reached out to me on Twitter and was like, "Hey, did you see that Phil did a product review? And would you consider going over that?" I might do that. Yes, I did see the product review. It was for an add-on for the Switch. Here's the thing that got me kind of twisted, and I'll save it for the actual phone call, because people have been asking me to go over it, and I need to. There's actually two different phone calls, to be honest with you. It's the straight phone call itself, and then the same individual did another video where they actually added the pre-stream and everything to it as well, which is a much longer video, but you know, that's what I usually shoot for. But we'll see. But I'll do one of the two, or I'll do both. You know me, it's whatever. But it's funny that it's literally a day or two after that phone call that all of a sudden he's doing sponsored product reviews. That seems odd. I can't remember the last thing the last thing I can remember him allegedly being sponsored was that Mario Sonic Olympics, Winter Olympics, and we only found out about that because people shitted on him for saying it was such a terrible game, and then he came out to protect himself and say, "Oh, well, the game was not gifted. The game was given to me as a review copy or whatever." Now all of a sudden, companies are sending him stuff to review items, to review peripherals, if you will. Now, here's the real takeaway from that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure Phil has, sorry, the saltiness of that Starbucks, or that Snortbucks starting to get to my ass. Goddamn. Oh, it's powerful. Anyway, I think what happens is one thing is that we haven't seen that Nook in a while, right? Because we haven't seen that Nook, I have to assume that Phil has been allegedly, air quotes, been sent product reviews for a while. And I bet you anything we see a lot of the boxes that are from those product reviews in there. I think he just uses them and he just doesn't say anything. I wouldn't be surprised by that. Or Phil went out and bought the product himself just so he could review it. It's one of the two. But you know, I couldn't tell you which one right now. Let me actually watch the video, and then we'll see what we make of it. But it's one of those two situations. And and another thing I'd like to point out as we move forward, I'm sorry, is that wasn't the Mario and Sonic Winter Olympics wasn't the first game that was sent to Phil to review. And if the game wasn't so bad to where Phil had to throw it out there that he was reviewing it, you know what I'm saying, to protect himself, he would have never told you it was a review copy. He would have just played it and moved the fuck on. So who knows what copies of games that he's doing that with? Because it's not like they give him the game, he reviews it, and they pay him too. They just send him the game, and they're like, hey, if you want to review it, you can. If not, don't worry about it. That's kind of how that works. Also, I think someone, I'm not sure if it was on this channel or the other one, where someone asked about how do you go about getting copies for games. There's a couple of ways of doing it, to be honest with you. My first recommendation is, if you can, send Almighty Tevin a message on Twitter. Send him like a DM or a tweet at him, and more often than not, if he sees it, he'll respond to you. But one of the ways that you can go about it is you can reach out to the companies respectfully by email. You can reach out to them on their Twitter account. You can go to their actual website page, and you'll see down in like a section called marketing, and you can send them a message through there most of the time. And those are just some of the ways of going about it, to be honest with you. If I can get some more confirmed ways of doing it, then I can definitely post them for you. You know what I mean? So, give me a little bit of time, and I'll see what I can do for you on that. Or I can see if I can talk to other people. But Tevin's a great example, though. I think is a great resource that you should ask about, because he does get a lot of free copies. He tells us all the time. And I don't think he'd have a problem with telling you that. Or some of the ways that you can go about it. So, I don't know how much that'll help you, or how much I've just helped you, I should say. But hopefully I can point you at least into the right direction. All right, guys, let's continue.
I want to talk a little bit about the future, all right? But before we even get there, let's talk. I want to give everyone an idea of how I'm doing business-wise, what's been going on, because there's good news, there's bad news. It's a mixed bag. It's always a mixed bag, let's face it. If you don't care about that, I urge you to skip ahead a few minutes to the next portion of the video where I'll be talking about upcoming stuff and try to get your feedback. But I promised to you, the viewer, that if I was going to talk about this kind of stuff, I would make videos about it so you're kind of caught up on it. So here we go. All right, so the last time that we all talked about business, basically, was kind of, I believe, sometime in November, but I don't think it was like, I think it was like mid-November, something like that. So a month has passed. What has changed? Well, listening directly to your feedback, I, number one, left YouTube for live streaming, and I'm now live streaming on Twitch. Okay, I'm going to be honest with everyone. It's not the easiest thing, because it's a lot more of a pain in the ass technical-wise to be streaming at one quality and recording at a completely different quality for the videos that I upload to YouTube. It actually lends itself to a lot more bugs.
The last video, like, yet again, I'd already talked about this, but the last video he had talked about business was the contract negotiation situation back in, literally, 12 days prior to this. He had talked about the potential of him going back to Twitch. It wasn't definitive. You know what I mean? Which is why I prefaced that before we actually got started. But even he can't keep his own shit straight. Now, granted, his three-pronged plan to how he was going to turn all this around, excuse me, going into 2017, I think he only did that video like 9 days prior to December 16th. Essentially, he did all that in December. I haven't gone over that very first one yet, though. When I find it, I will. But yet again, that's him not even being able to keep his own shit right. And you see that more and more now in our current timeline in 2020, our current year of gout. He has the hardest time keeping all this shit together.
A lot more issues. The setup every day takes longer because this program that I'm using, OBS Studio, has issues where sometimes it won't record or it won't stop recording, and then I gotta mess with it. That's what happened this morning. I couldn't get it to record and stop recording and not have an error, so I had to keep restarting and changing settings and restarting until finally, after like 20 minutes, I got it to work. But I'll tell you this, some positive things that have come out of me leaving the streaming from YouTube and streaming on Twitch. A few things. And again, apologies. Yes, I am still sick. The good news is, you can hear, I'm actually getting better.
Yes, you're getting better by going ahead and snorting in the very shit that you should be going ahead and getting out. Makes a lot of sense. Anyway, back to him moving to Twitch. I talked about this a little bit in the last video, so I'm not going to try to spoil it. But essentially, what happened was he's streaming on YouTube, and he wants people to come out and support the streams, right? But he also wants them to watch the YouTube videos, and that's not working. And then he had that situation with Pokemon Moon where he called his audience lazy for not coming out and supporting streams. And then Review Tech USA basically brought it to people's attention. Well, brought it to Phil's attention on Twitter. Phil had a whole little spout about that nonsense. And Phil's like, well, and then people were reaching out to Phil and saying, hey, there's more ways. Sorry, let's reword that. Twitch is becoming more lucrative, and you should probably consider going over there. And that's what Phil did. He ran over to Twitch for the money. But that also solves in his own head a problem. People are saying that on YouTube, I'm streaming too much on YouTube. Fair enough. I'll move over to Twitch. I'll move back over to Twitch because not everybody's going to be able to follow him. He knows that. So I'm going to go back over to Twitch. I'm going to go ahead and keep doing what I was doing basically on YouTube where, well, what he was doing on YouTube, he's going to do on Twitch. He's just going to stream the games, and then he's going to chop them up and put them into pieces and upload it onto YouTube, and then everybody's happy. The people who want Phil to keep streaming, he's still streaming. He's just doing it on another platform. And for those who weren't supporting the streams because they're fucking lazy, and who only wanted to watch the videos or only could watch the videos, now they can watch it on YouTube. Voila. That's essentially what Phil's plan was. He didn't come out and be honest and say that. He could have prettied it up. I'm not going to do that because I don't owe him shit. But he could have said something to that semblance and people would have understood. He didn't want to. He wanted to be a deceitful bastard about it and be like, you guys are saying that you want to support me, but you guys aren't really supporting me, so fuck half of you. So for all those who follow me over there on Twitch, I'm going to start taking you guys for your money. For you guys on YouTube, you better step your shit up and start clicking ads and supporting the videos over there because I need those views and I need those ad clicks. There you go.
I think I am gradually every day getting slightly better, slightly better. I am feeling overall better, so that's good news. Number one, people seem to like...
That's like the 5th or 6th snort in like the last 30 seconds, but we're feeling a whole lot better. Jesus Christ. Those are those deep snorts too. Like the ones you feel in your lungs. Good God.
Which better overall, okay? Even though there is a select group of people who say that when I stream on YouTube that for some reason it loads better with their internet or whatever, the vast majority of my viewers seem to be under the impression that Twitch is better, all right? Whether it's they like the visual quality better, whether they think it's a better interface. Primarily, I think a lot of people just like the chat better on Twitch, even though, honestly, the chat is the same as the one I was using on my YouTube streams. It is IRC. It's the exact same client. It's just that they put this nice fancy, you know, visuals.
It's funny that Phil said that. This is Phil, by the way, doing his, well, at best, his best Bruce Lee impression. It's very terrible and whatnot, but we call it swine pig flu. I know you guys would normally think it's supposed to be foo, but it's flu because of the way he pronounces stuff sometimes. I can't talk. I pronounce shit bad too. Anyway, that's what that is. If you guys want another example of what I'm trying to reference is, if any of you guys have ever played like Marvel vs. Capcom, and you see how Magneto, when he's sitting in place and then he goes ahead and he maneuvers his hands around. If you guys are, you know, you guys are like martial art movie fans, you know Bruce Lee is the one who originated that. But whatever, same concept. The funny thing is about what he's saying about the interface as it pertains to the chat. Phil has always said he never liked YouTube's chat, and he didn't like it because, excuse me, it didn't make itself easily regulatable, if you will. Let me reword that. It wasn't easy for him to moderate on that. You know what I'm saying? He always used to praise Twitch, saying that it's much easier to moderate the chat than it is on YouTube. YouTube, it's just line by line by line, where with Twitch, it makes it a little bit more accessible. Over here, right now, he's telling you, contrary to popular belief, he's giving you he's going ahead and still trying to big up YouTube. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that YouTube and Twitch are the same damn thing. It's nothing particularly special. It's just it's a lot prettier over there on Twitch. But then if you ask him now, oh, well, whose chat was better, Phil? Is it Twitch or is it YouTube? Oh, it's definitely Twitch, man. Twitch, man, it's easier for me to go ahead and click on your names and the chat doesn't move super fucking fast, so I can keep track and I can see what everybody's saying. And if I miss something, I can scroll back and I can go ahead and find it. It's great, man. YouTube though, nah, man. YouTube is just like a movable comment section. It doesn't mean anything. It's horrible. It's horrible. They need to update it. And Phil said all of those things in the past, so you have something to refer back to. You have a point of reference, if you will. But that right there just goes to show what kind of loyalty Phil has. Not only to people, but to the businesses that he works for. Because, let's be honest, Phil's nothing more than a tool, and he's a worker. You know what I'm saying? That is what it is. He's never owned shit. He's never been a business owner. He's always worked for somebody else. Because he's too scared to do it on his own and fail, and then not be able to recover. That's why it's always been safer to be under an MCN instead of, going off and making his own way on his Google AdSense account, which he couldn't do that because he ain't tried to spam the system like 6 or 7 years prior and got himself kicked off, which is the reason why he went to an MCN in the first place, if you think about it. He gets kicked off, and let's go ahead and give you a small timeline. Phil gets fired in what, 2010? Goes ahead and tries to make his way on YouTube with just the Google AdSense account. Gets kicked off Google AdSense because he asks people to click ads. Goes to Blip. On Blip for about a month and a half and whatnot. Figures out a way to screw things up. Well, one, he wasn't confined. He wasn't going with their guidelines. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do when it comes to gameplay and so on and so forth. He was skewing the rules, if you will, to get over and play the system. On top of that, then you have the Dead Space 2 commentary, Nazi commentary, which is basically just, at least he's admitted it, a straight rip from Howard Stern, which got his ass kicked off. Goes back to YouTube, goes to Hutch, who he was beefing with not long before that, sucks him off and asks him for a job on Machinima, and goes there. Back in the day, in this early period, which would be, what, mid-2011, I guess, you didn't need to have a personal Google AdSense account to jump on an MCN, unlike now. So he was able to avoid trying to appeal for his own Google AdSense account and just jump right on Machinima. Jump right on their MCN. Jump right on their Google AdSense account and make money through them. So he was never a personal business owner, or he was never a business owner because he had no business to own. Because the only way he would have been able to make profit, theoretically, would be through his Google AdSense account, which was non-existent. That's why he stayed on Machinima as long as he did. That's what happened. And all of this, all that information that I gave you about the whole Google AdSense accounts and all that, that didn't come out until the situation with Curse many, many years later. So just to give you guys an idea, yet again, another point of reference, a piggy reference, if you will, to why Phil did things the way he did. Because he's lazy, he's stupid, he's ignorant. And at the end of the day, he needs someone to save him at all times. And that's why he's scared to move. That's why he's scared to be ambitious. Not that he could be ambitious, but that's the reason why he's not willing to take risks. Because he knows he's going to fail. He knows he's going to fail. He goes ahead and tries to give you guys all this bravado, like he has all this confidence and he doesn't give a fuck what the haters say and the detractors say and shit and so on and so forth. But I said a video or two ago that on his wedding night, you know what I'm saying, when he should have been going ahead and giving Catherine some piglets, instead he's sitting there on Twitch, or he's sitting there on Twitter and Instagram hearing what the detractors have to say about him. Instead of actually, let me not be an asshole this time, instead of actually enjoying his wedding night. Instead of him actually doing that, he's sitting there wondering what the detractors are doing. He's getting a hate boner over what the detractors are doing. That's wild. You got to think, the day before his wedding day, and the day after, he shouldn't even been on social media. Or if he wants to go ahead and put up his wedding pictures, do that shit and then leave that shit alone till you come home. No. He's sitting there moderating comments on Instagram, and he's sitting there following everybody on Twitter to see, well, he's eagle-eyeing everybody on Twitter to see what they're saying. That's not how you spend your wedding night. That's not how you should be spending your wedding night. There's no enjoyment in that. By seeing what detractors have to say about you and your wife? Come on, man.
Over it so it looks streamlined, and yeah, it is easier to just jump onto the page and chat right away. And yes, there's emotes and all of that stuff, and I get that, okay? For me, the main focus of my streaming was always the gameplay, but people have basically come out and said, no, listen, Phil, it is important to have this social aspect and have easier chatting and all of that as well. So at least in that regard, it seems great. And I'll be honest, there's a hell of a lot more social interaction with people on my streams now than there ever was on YouTube. People are engaged, they're excited, they're talking with each other, and yeah, of course, just like always, it gets derailed, and the chat is not always about maybe the subject of the stream, but at least I'm seeing more interactions now than I ever did over on YouTube, okay?
Yet again, he's supposed to be getting better, but you're hearing them snorts. Those snorts sound deep. Deeper than he went into Catherine. Anyway, here's one thing that I want to point out as he's talking about derailing the chat and how, you know, the subject matter is sometimes being, you know, off-put because everybody's talking. What did he expect? I've watched a lot of streams, right? You know what I'm saying? Not just on YouTube, but on Twitch. And a few on Mixer, actually. I'm starting to watch more, actually. There's some actually really talented people over there on Mixer that really should get more light. But then a lot of them didn't start on Twitch and they didn't start on YouTube, so I guess that's the reason why they haven't really been discovered yet. But it's funny how, and I pointed this out before in the main channel, that when you go to a Phil Burnell stream, a Darksydephil stream, a DSP stream, he literally wants all the discussion to revolve around him, nothing else. And then he put in the caveat later on that, oh, well, if you guys want to talk about a different topic, it has to go in conjunction with the game that I'm playing. Other than that, you can't talk about it because that's derailment. Who conducts a channel like that? Who conducts a stream like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't stream. You guys know this. But if I started a stream, and whether I'm just going over some type of commentary video or whatever, or if I'm playing a game or whatever the case may be, feel free to speak about what you want to speak about. And I'll chime in when I can if it's relatable to me. You know what I mean? Or if it's relatable to something that I know. And I know more than Phil, so it is what it is. Then again, I leave my house every day. He don't. And if it's something relatable that I can speak about, then cool, I'll speak on it. If not, I'll just go ahead and keep watching the chat and see what comes out of that conversation. But you should always feel free to have conversations. That's the whole point. Going to somebody's stream isn't just about them. It's not even just about the game. It's about the social interaction, which you just said, amongst yourselves. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a thing. And you never know who you can draw and who can you draw out. Now, don't be wrong. Like, I suppose, like, I'll use Wings for example. When people started getting, like the other night actually, someone brought up DSP to him, and he went on like, he must have gone on at least a 10-15 minute talk about that. Whose channel did I watch that on? What's that dude's name? Is it Mooney? I think his name is Mooney. He does I think it might have been Mooney. Because it wasn't Hoodlum. Yeah, I think the guy's name is Mooney, and he has a channel where he goes over Wings of Redemption stuff. It's good stuff too. But he actually had a segment within his video that actually had Wings going over. He cut out some of the bullshit to keep it concise, and even then, he didn't get pissed off about that shit. He went ahead, he talked it out, they had their conversation. People still were holding on a couple different conversations in the chat, but essentially, he was talking to a few people about Phil, and everything went by smoothly. Now, granted, if they made the whole thing about Phil or whatnot, then I could see how you would get frustrated, but for someone like Wings who craves social interaction, he's going to usually go along with it because he craves social interaction. It's just him and his two cats, to be honest. And the guy is, he is rather lonely by his own faults though. But we'll go over that on another Wing report or whatever. But really by his own faults. Whereas DSP doesn't like the social interaction. He doesn't give a fuck about that. He just wants your money. If things on YouTube didn't get as bad as the way they did, he would have never gone back to Twitch. He would have just stayed on YouTube. If Phil was still making 6 figures alone on YouTube, he'd never go to another site because he wouldn't have to. He wouldn't have to put up with the bullshit. He would much rather keep he would much rather keep people at arm's length than anything else, and force people to go through the channels to try to reach out to him. Twitter DM, or at darksydephil@hotmail.com, or at DSPgaming@gmail.com. I think That's one of his PayPal accounts. His second PayPal account is linked to that Gmail, which you guys should know that by now. I've said that, Tevin said that, so on and so forth. So that's a thing as well. But he would rather keep people at arm's length. Give me the fan art, give me some suggestions that I can put on a shirt, and give me your money, and that's it. I don't really want to talk to any of you. I don't really want to associate with you. Phil's always been that way. It's much easier for him to regulate people that way. The less interaction you have with Phil, the less you can call him out on his bullshit. And in actuality, he's more likely to trust you that way through constant correspondence that way than actually having to speak to you on a regular basis. Even if he's not really speaking to you and it's all through just a chat. Just my opinion, of course.
Number one. Number two, being completely honest, streaming on Twitch has been profitable for me. Unlike streaming on YouTube.
No shit. That's the reason why you went back to it. This is what we call greedy pig with his hands out. Praise be to basically Tevin. Praise be for allowing me to go back to Twitch and garner all of this money. My rather cracked and dry hooves have been waiting for that Twitch lubrication. So please give it to me. Greedy son of a bitch.
Revealed a month or two ago, I said streaming on YouTube is just a fan service. When I stream on YouTube, my stream maybe makes a couple bucks here or there. The best streams I've ever had on YouTube maybe raised me like 20 to 40 bucks. I'm not even lying.
If he says 20 to 40, I'm going to say it's probably closer to like 80 to 100. Sorry. This right here is willfully deceitful pig. Basically going ahead and jogging around numbers. Because you got to think about it. When he says my most profitable stream on YouTube or whatever, the people, he's actually shitting on the people who gave him money that day. Oh, you guys gave me, 20, 40 bucks, but, what is that really? A DSP tries it? That's it for me and Panda? Because Panda was still in the picture at the time. That's not really much. So he's kind of shitting on the people who've given him money on YouTube. He literally took a huge dump on you guys and spread the pig shit all over your face. And said, yeah, all that time, the 2 years that I was off Twitch and I came back to YouTube, all those great streams and how I said you guys are being supportive or I appreciate you guys coming out. That really didn't mean jack shit to me now because now I'm going back to my new pimp, which is twitch.tv. So for the rest of you guys, it is what it is. Thanks for your money, dummies. Thank you, you fucking worthless humans, for the views.
That's the most profit I've ever made on a YouTube stream, and that was for like a huge freaking premiere. Like the premiere of the PlayStation VR was a huge stream. It made me like maybe 20, 40 bucks, okay? But mostly the stuff I do on YouTube is just fan service.
He was an idiot too for buying that thing. He spent $300 on that fucking headset, used it a handful of times, complained about how it makes his head sweaty and whatnot, and and he was spreading grease everywhere, and then he just didn't use it anymore. Which is literally what happened, by the way. Like, why would you spend $300 on something like that you knew you weren't going to use? And he knew he wasn't going to use it. Do I think he made his money back on it? He probably just barely. He may have broken even. Or he may have made a little bit of profit, but it wasn't worth spending. And now where is it? In a closet somewhere? You know what I mean? Or it could be still on the floor, but I doubt it, because he doesn't play VR games. Actually, he doesn't like VR games, so it is what it is. Money well spent yet again, right, ladies and gentlemen?
Not streaming because I'm getting anything out of it. I was doing it for the viewers. Streaming on Twitch has actually been profitable. Now, not every day, because here's the thing. With Twitch, you've got subscribers, paid subscribers, right? You've got bit cheers, which is a big new thing. These bit cheers were not around when I used to be on Twitch, okay? What it is you can either watch a ton of free or a ton of ads to earn these bits for free, or you can actually spend money on Twitch and buy these bits. And during a stream, if you like what a streamer's doing or you just want to support a streamer, you can do this cheer, who in the chat it shows this big special emblem and all of that. And basically it's kind of like a micro donation to the streamer. So through people subscribing, which by the way,
I want you to listen to that, given to our current timeline. I want you to really listen and think about that. A micro donation.
At this point, I have over 130 subscribers on my Twitch page, so thank you to those who have subscribed. That is awesome of you. Through that, and also through all these bit cheers.
That's a small cry, though, from what he had before he left 2 years prior, or 2.5 years prior.
I've been making at least a decent amount of money every day. And I'm talking even usually the slower streams. Like if I'm doing, I was doing an endgame stream of Final Fantasy and only 200 people were on the stream, I was still at least making some money doing it, which was awesome. It made it feel like the effort was worth it for me to come out and schedule the stream and get the stream working, get through the technical difficulties and micromanage the stream and the stream quality and everything. And it seemed like it was worth it because...
And that's rather, and this is asshole Phil and whatnot. It's another part of our collection. Just absolute fucking scumbag. Anyway, it's funny though how he said that, you know, I had about, even on a slow stream, I had about 200 people come out and it was cool and fun and everything like that. But when he could barely pull between 300 and 400 people on YouTube, and on that stream, he called those people lazy. You see the prejudice that he has, so to speak, as it pertains to people on YouTube and people on Twitch? The people on YouTube are basically enslaved. He expects you guys to produce a certain amount because you guys are part of his YouTube legacy. His between 160 and 180,000 subs and whatnot. You guys are supposed to be the diehard fans because this is the platform that he started on, and he put his blood, sweat, and tears allegedly into all of this. And you guys are, it's mandatory that you guys come out and support. Whereas on Twitch, it's a brand new platform. It doesn't pay out like YouTube does. It pays out a lot quicker and it's a lot more profitable. So I got to definitely keep these Johns over here happy while you guys right here are nothing more than pay piggies. You know what I'm saying? So he treats YouTube like an OnlyFans page for all those people who've been around for a long time. But Twitch is basically where all the live hoeing shows go, if you will.
At least people were enjoying it, and I was actually getting something out of it for the first time in over 2 years, okay? So that's good. So the streams are better for most people watching, and the streams are better for me, so moving to Twitch seemed to be a positive step.
Speaking of which, real quick when I'm talking about OnlyFans, not that I'm going to comment on the iDubbbz thing. At the end of the day, it's however he wants to go about that is how he wants to go about it. It is what it is. But the fact that Leafy is here and sat there and come up out the woodworks all these years later to try to shit on iDubbbz is wild to me. You would have thought, I mean, first off, shit, fuck it. I'm already on a roll with it. First off, Leafy, iDubbbz didn't destroy you. YouTube did. YouTube chose to get your shit up and off the platform, or at least deprioritize you. Point blank. You know that. So that is what that is. When you went on Keemstar, I can't remember whenever the last time he went on Keemstar, he said life was good. He has a bunch of money saved. I think Leafy's like a millionaire or some shit. He has money saved up. He invested his money properly, or very well. He's fine. You know what I'm saying? He's beyond fine, to be honest with you. Who gives a shit? You came in, you made a whole bunch of money, you had a run, and then you got phased the fuck out. Period. But you sat there and held on to that iDubbbz bullshit, and then now iDubbbz came out saying whatever it is that he said and whatnot, and then all of a sudden you want to take pop shots at him? That's wild to me, because when you came on Keemstar not long ago, iDubbbz was still the man. Well, I mean, there's a mixed reaction on how people feel about iDubbbz, but iDubbbz was still the man. He didn't pop no shots off then. But now that iDubbbz is slipping, right, and whatnot, it's easier to kick the man when he was down. He didn't kick you while you were down. You were still at a real good point in your career, quote unquote, when he decided to make that video on you, that content cop. But then now we're kicking people when they're down, which is no different than what DSP did to Pro Jared. Think about that. I want you to really think about it. The fact that he held that much hatred for iDubbbz that long and then waited to strike. You see why some of these people in this internet shit, even when you've had a little bit of success, you made a whole shitload of money and you walked away and made even more money when you walked away, the bitterness that you hold still comes back for some of these people. That's wild. I might actually go over that, but I don't really have too much to say about it, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, I mean, iDubbbz is going to do what iDubbbz wants. It is what it is. So it is. And the thing is, though, is if you guys are iDubbbz fans and you decided to go ahead and pay for whatever her name is, fan only page, only to get shit that was already on her Instagram, you got what you got. You got what you got. And if I have any complaint, it's that she's taking advantage of iDubbbz fan base, because that's the people who are really throwing money at her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get a fake boob job, or you don't get a boob job and then automatically that just makes you the thing. It don't. To be honest with you, it is what it is. And so the people that are more than likely to jerk off to her are more than likely going to be iDub fans. But you guys aren't even jerking off to any skin. It's just regular shit that's already on her Instagram. Good luck with that.
Okay. And yeah, it is kind of a learning curve, because now, remember, when I take breaks, I need to give shout-out thank yous, and I am, again, running commercial breaks. When I didn't used to do that when I was on YouTube, I'm now running commercial breaks again when I go on breaks and stuff like that.
Take a sip. So, literally, we're complaining because we have to do more work. Oh, now I have to hit this one button to run ads. Oh, now I gotta hit this one button now, which is how it works. I have to hit this one button to run an ad for like a minute or two. It's so much more work now, guys. I gotta run these commercial breaks. I'm not used to it, and I gotta really actually talk to you guys now and act like I give a fuck about you guys. Oh, it's so much work. Let me grab my Dasani.
But this is stuff that I'm all getting used to. I've done it for almost a month now. I'm starting to get into a groove now a little bit. And I really feel that once the new releases in 2017 hit, that people are going to start showing up in droves. Right now, really...
And they didn't. But we'll talk about that in a second. What's even more funny to me, right, is, you know how he talks about, oh, I'm still getting adjusted to streaming in this modern era, or as I like to call it, marinara. The first time I heard him say that, that's what I heard. I heard marinara. But anyway, as... I'm just going to say it that. So, as he streams in this marinara, right? Modern era, you know what I mean? It's funny how he says now, yeah, I'm still getting used to it, but I like it a lot better than when I used to stream on Twitch or when I used to stream on YouTube, so on and so forth. And if you listen to him right here, he's literally looking at this like, oh, you know, I'm starting to break new ground. I'm trying to make my way. You've been trying to make your way doing this for almost 4 years. Well, 3 years. Almost 3 years. You've been trying to make your way streaming on Twitch, which gives you guys an idea of how far behind this individual really is. That's how outdated his stream is on Twitch. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at his stream chat or his streaming in general, and you look at somebody else who's been streaming for like a month or two, or even a year, let's say a year, it's night and day. And he never learned. He never put in the effort. He never did any of those things. He might convince somebody else to put the effort in for him around the holidays or special events, but he doesn't do it himself. He just runs the stream like he runs a YouTube video, or like how he runs a YouTube channel in a lot of ways. And that's really all his streams on Twitch are. It's just a YouTube video with his face with his face cam there. That's all it is. That's all it is. Because he doesn't put the chat on stream. Why doesn't he do that? Because he doesn't want to give the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics any more ammo, despite the fact that we have other outlets that we can grab it from. So you hiding that is frivolous. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. You're only hurting yourself, really. You're not hurting anybody else. But it's the same lazy shit. He figured out a way to turn Twitch into the new YouTube. That's it. And that goes back to my original point, ladies and gentlemen, that if YouTube was as profitable as it is now, as it was back then, he probably wouldn't have gone back to Twitch. Now, granted, it's fair to make the argument that, oh, well, everybody was popping over there on Twitch back then, so it only makes sense. That's true, but he knows he wasn't going to get much of that fanfare. He knew that, not at all. He definitely knew that. I believe that if he had all the money making potential through YouTube streaming like he does now on Twitch, he would slowly but surely conform the audience or his core audience to just give him more money there. And then everybody else just has to deal with the videos. And if people leave, who cares? At that time, he had Brightside Viking as well as a lot of those dudes throwing thousands and thousands of dollars a month at him. Psh, he could live great off that. And he probably would have. So just to give you guys an idea of what his mindset is, at least back then, and a lot of it now, he's milked Twitch damn near dry. That's why he's always fishing for whales. That's why you have that stupid vest and hat combo. Well, not even the combo. Like, it's stupid just the vest alone. You have people having to give you $100 just so you can put a goddamn vest on? Like, that's reverse hoism, to be honest with you. That is reverse piggy hoism. And then another $100 to put a hat on? Come on, bruh. Come on, man. That's just straight stupid. That's straight stupid. And it's the same shit that he accused people like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Ninja, all those guys. Oh, well, these guys go ahead and put on bright, dye their hair bright colors and act all goofy, you know what I'm saying, to bring in the kids, to bring in the money. You don't think you're not doing the same thing? Yeah, most of them are man, children, or wheelchair symbols, but same shit. Exact same shit. Oh, you think just because your hair isn't permanently colored, it's not a big deal? Bitch, do you know how many screenshots or screen captures you can find on Twitter, for example, or you can find on Reddit with Phil with that fucking hat on and that fucking vest? And all the people clowning him and shit on that? A lot. A quick Google search, you can find some of that. You don't think that doesn't go ahead and stain you more than it stains Ninja and all those guys? At least they have a little bit of pride about what they do. At least they're trying to express themselves in different ways. You're strictly being a hoe and projecting your piggy hoism and doing it strictly for profit. And you're not even making big profit. You're out here doing these piggy hoisms for the third time for $100, for $200. If you want to call what they do being hoes as well, at least they're making tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. At least they're making it worth their while. Phil chasing hundreds, while these guys are actually making hundreds of thousands. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. DSPNEWS.
Let's take a look. This past month, right? Really, outside of Final Fantasy 15, there were no high-profile releases that I was really playing that anyone cared about the streams. When Resident Evil 7 comes out, when, all these big high-profile games coming out in February, March, April are coming out, people are going to want to tune in, and I think that's going to be exciting, and it could end up being good for you and good for me again, all right? So overall, the move to Twitch for live streaming worked out. I'm glad I did it. I want to say again, thank you to everyone who just kept pounding me in my face and saying, you got to go back to Twitch. You finally broke through, and I didn't understand why it would make sense, and now that I'm there, I get it, okay? I get it. That being said, all right, right now, this week in particular, this weekend for the Christmas stuff that I did was amazing. People showed up, which I didn't even expect, but a lot of people showed up during Christmas Eve and Christmas to check out my Christmas Sims in WWE, and also to check out my chill stream on Christmas where I talked a lot about family traditions and stuff. And by the way, people really, thank you to anyone who cheered or subbed or anything over the weekend. I made a lot of good money this weekend streaming, more than really I've ever made before, which is crazy, okay? Now, that's just me doing kind of, holiday themed stuff. I can't imagine, how it's going to turn out in the future when I'm doing new games and stuff. That's really making me feel positive about it. But the trade-off here is that not every day is profitable, all right? There's days like, I'll be honest, the past 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, really not a heck of a lot is going on Twitch. There's not a lot of people showing up for the streams because I've been doing multiplayer with patrons. I played Pokemon Moon again. That's kind of for a niche audience. And then today I did my final stream of Final Fantasy 15, and that's been post-game for how long? So I understand. I get it. If there's not a special event or a big new game or something that's not super desirable, people might not show up for the stream, and the stream might not be profitable, all right? So what I'm going to have to do moving forward, now that I'm starting to get data, right? Now that I've done it for a month or whatever on Twitch, I'm starting to get data. Okay, what would be a stream people are going to show up for and like versus what's a stream that people will not show up for? I got to do things that work out for you that you want to see, but also that I can be profitable so I can keep doing this as a job. And it's funny because, whenever I mention money, how dare Phil mention money? I'll tell you why I mention money. Because this is my job, and unlike 95% of the other YouTubers that you're probably watching, I'm not making a lot of money doing it. I'm not making ridiculous amounts of money and rolling in dough. At this point, I'm barely paying my bills because of all the negative shit that happened on YouTube this year around summertime and moving on, and I've got to keep being real with you about it so you know the situation. Because the bottom line is, if I can't do this tomorrow because I got to go get another job, you want to know why, right? And there are ways to prevent that, but I got to keep you in the know and informed.
I need to prevent that. Like, if you have to go off and get a job, you have to go off and get a job. But he's used that excuse of, oh, if you guys don't support me, I'm going to have to pick up and leave, and then you guys aren't going to get as much content anymore. Despite the fact that the same people that he's trying to appeal to, right, have told him you're putting out too much goddamn content. Which is the reason why, to be honest, this is my theory. keep in mind, it's not exactly a Theo theory, but it's a theory, that he would make more money if he did less. I know that sounds weird, but he would. Because he's sitting there saturating the market, and no one gives a fuck because there's too much out there. If he cut back by half and did something fucking productive with that half of the time, whether him and Panda started editing together, or if he actually left his goddamn house and went off and got himself in shape, or actually tried to reinvent himself, get a part-time job, whatever the case may be, ladies and gentlemen, he would be gaining life experience, stuff that he can actually talk about. You know what I mean? He would have a new thought process instead of just sitting in his office, fucking sucking in dust and debris and whatever else, getting himself sicker and sicker. He has nothing to talk about because he don't do shit. His only lifeline is Twitter and the few people he talks to behind the scenes. And the people he talks to behind the scenes, it's about drama. It's about detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. That's it. He don't talk to them about anything that happens in their lives or in the real world because he don't give a fuck about that. And like I said, he put it out too much goddamn content. He needed to ease back on that shit. He should have been doing that for years. And it would give him something to do. If Phil showed up one day, ladies and gentlemen, in our current timeline, 2020, our current year of gout, if he went ahead and cut back his content by half, let's say we don't even do a night stream no more. Matter of fact, let's play this. Let's play some hypothetical pignosis, our favorite game. Let's say he does a 2-hour stream in the morning. Let's say he actually wakes his ass up at 7 o'clock, right? 7 a.m. Okay? Starts his stream at 9, streams from 9 to 11. Done. And then he comes back on stream at 7 o'clock, let's say, and streams till like 9 or 10. Done. What does he have to do in all that time? He could actually go out and do shit. You know what I mean? He could literally go out and do shit. He could find stuff to do with his time instead of sit there and just watch WWE. You know what I'm saying? Go and take Catherine and Jasper out to the park or something. Go out and see a national exhibit or something. Go out and why don't you go out and just go for a walk? Maybe consider actually trying to get yourself in shape. Do something. Learn a new skill. There are all kinds of online outlets where you can actually learn how to do shit, right? Like you can learn different skills and stuff like that. Learn a new skill. You know what I mean? Go out, well, not now, obviously, because of our situation, but go out and actually see what life has to offer you. Life is bigger than just video games, man. Even for people who are in the video game industry. But he didn't want to do that. He made this shit his life because that was the only way he could make money, because money was the only thing that drove him. He had nothing else. And what did he do to barter with? What he had left in goodwill amongst his audience and what he would call his popularity. That's what he bartered with because he had nothing else. Now he doesn't have anything. The fan base is crumbling by the day. Whatever semblance of a reputation he has is not positive, and he's still failing. And even if he somehow got away with Chapter 7, which he probably is not going to, but even if he was able to, he's still at ground zero. And he's milked those pay piggies so hard and so dry that there's no way he's going to keep making what he's making unless he has a whale that comes through. Someone told me that he had like 71 or 70 plus people, gifted subs come in the other night. That's great. That's cool. Is he going to have that each and every month? No. And then Phil's definitely and then I'm also hearing that Phil is being, big ups to James the Lesser, that Phil is being audited by the trustee, which that should, or not audited, but being investigated, which that's not too far out of the question, because between his filing and what he said on that call, all that shit needs some actual, what's the word I'm looking for? All of that needs some clarification, for sure. There's all kinds of discrepancies, and I think she knew that. I think that's one of the reasons why she let the dude who's doing the collections, allegedly, but I believe him, but who's doing the collections for Citibank. Actually, I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is if he's a troll, he's a damn good troll. If he's not trolling and he's being serious, then it still works out. But whatever. The point is that I think with the stuff that he said and how long she let him go on with that tells me that that right there got some things going through her head, or that correlated with what she was already thinking. What that guy was saying was stuff that she was already thinking, and she was like, Phil, answer the question. And when Phil immediately got defensive, he fucked himself. The moment Phil said, because you can hear it in the call, I don't think this guy's legit, he screwed himself. He absolutely, positively screwed himself. And to give you guys another point of reference, every time that you hear when the trustee asks a question and then Phil and his lawyer go quiet, it's because they muted the call so he can be like, I think I'm being trolled. I think I'm being trolled. They're coming after me. They're coming after me. Help! That's what that was. And you saw Phil's attorney or lawyer or whatever. You can hear her level of urgency start to rise as that call goes on. I don't think she's fully understands what the situation is either. And if she does, especially now, if this idiot is really not claiming his tips, he's fucked. And now that don't hurt her. She already collected her $1,200 and she will. And then she walks away. But Phil really screwed the pooch on that. And I think the trustee listened to everything that was being said. And that's why she didn't call that guy out. She only called him out not called him out, but she only brought up once that maybe when he brought up the filing, he may have had things misunderstood, but he didn't. And that's why I think she went ahead and said it and whatnot to see how he would, if he could reword the question or redirect the question in a different way without coming out and just telling him to do so. So it doesn't look like she's siding with him, because even though she is the trustee, theoretically she's kind of acting like a judge, right? So you got to show a level of neutrality. You got to be neutral, if you will, in those type of situations. So I think that was a great way of trying to redirect the question a little bit without looking like she's favoring him. At least that's the way I took it. But when I go over the call, we'll talk on that a little more.
So, streaming's good, but it's not profitable every day. Moving forward, I'm going to have to see what works and what doesn't, and see, do I really want to stream every single day? Or maybe, like I was going to do before I started on Twitch, what I was doing on YouTube, I was going to back off from live streaming every day to try to get more people to watch the YouTube videos. So we'll see. Let's see moving forward. I'm not promising anything. I am going to keep streaming for the short term. Let's see what happens. If there's an update that I decide, well, I've decided to cut back on streaming, I'll let you all know, okay? Now that's Twitch. The YouTube side of things, not going so well. I'll be honest.
Which is the reason why he jumped ship in the first place. Sorry for all that rambling, by the way. But that's the reason why he jumped ship in the first place, because YouTube wasn't working out the way he wanted to. He wanted to impose his will on them with watch the videos and show up to all the streams, and you guys aren't doing that. And we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, an individual who was only streaming 4 hours a day on YouTube. That's it. 4 hours a day on YouTube. No second streams, none of that. He said, all I'm doing is streaming for 4 hours, and then my other 8 hours to make it a full 12-hour day is to edit the videos, and then to edit up the videos, then upload them, and then tag them, and then give them titles, and then to babysit them to make sure they go up on in order and on time. Then to go over to Twitter and to go ahead and promote it, and to make sure that because he's trying to act like his own PR person and make sure everything's going right over there and all this, that, and the third. And in actuality, he could do all that in like 6 hours. So at this point, let me bring up another point now that I'm saying that. So at this point, all that bullshit about why him and Panda started to drift away from each other and all that was his fault. He honestly just didn't want to spend time with her. He wanted her to cook, clean, do laundry, go to work to make daddy more money, and that's it. He didn't want to interact with her any more than he needed to. Let's reword that. He only wanted to interact with her when he wanted to interact with her. He only wanted to spend time with her when he wanted to spend time with her. That's it. Other than that, he didn't want to feel obligated to do anything else. And I know that sounds really bad, because it is. But that's the truth, though. Or at least that's what I think.
Continue, because I got 3 days left in the month, but YouTube statistics are staggered by around 3 to 4 days too. So really there's like a week left in this month, okay? From everything that I can see, all right, it looks like roughly October, November, and December for me were like this, kind of flat. And what that means is there was no real increase in interest. There was not any, new group of viewers who came and watched my stuff on YouTube at all.
No shit. You just said that, excuse me, you just said in the last video that people were saying that you were putting out too much and they couldn't keep up with it, or they didn't want to keep up with it. And that's what fucked you. Now you want to bring up that, hey, you guys on YouTube, you're not supporting me, and you aren't spreading the word, and you're not doing anything to help build, you're not helping me build my profile and help me expand my business. So, you know, you guys are fucking up. That's the reason why I left you guys for Twitch in the first place. That's essentially what he's saying.
Which is bad. This is the time of year where typically I get an influx of viewers checking out all the new games. None of that happened. So 2 years in a row now, where the same thing has happened at the end of the year, because I got screwed over last year with those false copyright strikes. DSP Gaming does not show up properly in YouTube search. It actually did.
Let me address that. Now, granted, if you guys have been following me for any period of time, you guys know I've already addressed it, but I'm going to keep doing it because I'm tired of the lie. The reason why he got fucked off those false copyright strikes, which caused him to delete all of those videos, 300 videos, 400, something like that, is because his dumbass deleted all those videos. Instead of letting Machinima do their goddamn job, which they would have, he went ahead. They didn't respond to him quick enough. He took shit into his own hands because he was so scared that DSP Gaming was going to get taken down, and deleted all those videos and permanently fucked himself. That's what happened. That's the truth. If he had let them do their damn job, even if the channel did go down, okay, let's say, hypothetical pignosis, let's say that the channel did go down for a day, it would come right back up. Machinima would have it come right back up. No problem. That's what it is to be a partner channel. Is if you get into bullshit like this, then they're there to help you. They may not be able to help you right away because you're not that much of a priority. I don't know how many managed partners that Machinima had at the time, but I'm sure there was a lot, and I'm sure they were a lot bigger than Phil fucking Burnell, than DSP, than Darksydephil. So they'll get around to you. But if your channel went down, they'd be like, okay, this is code red. Get over there and start pushing our resources behind them, and let's get it back up, and then get this cleared up. Other than that, they would have reached out to him in a couple days. He wanted them to reach out to him within minutes. You're just being unrealistic. And then the way the attacks and air quotes happened, it wasn't even enough to take down the channel. But this idiot right here is so goddamn paranoid that he fucked himself over. He's the one who deleted those videos, not Machinima, not YouTube. He did it. Now, the pig lore is that YouTube and Machinima told him to delete those videos. He's interchanged the interchange between the two of them over the years. But essentially, YouTube and Machinima told him to delete those videos. And he says he has the email to prove it. Okay, then prove it. You're not part of Machinima anymore, and Machinima's gone. They got absorbed into like either Maker or Full Sail. Or not Full Sail, sorry. Full screen. Full screen. So, go ahead. Go show us the proof. Show us the evidence. But he won't do it because it doesn't exist. He deleted those videos because he was paranoid and he was scared. And all he has to do is say that. But then if he does say that, if he admits that, I should say, then it's not the detractors' fault anymore. Or it's not those haters' fault anymore that he got fucked. It's his fault that he got fucked. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Chen and Be Awesome One and SOK or whoever it was that was involved in that, they didn't fuck over Phil Burnell. Phil Burnell fucked over Phil Burnell. You know what I'm saying?
Earlier this year, because there were a few videos, for example, when I played the Doom open beta for the multiplayer of Doom earlier this year, I think there was like April or May. A bunch of those.
Another irony. This is part of our Eyes Closed collection. Or no, Eyes Wide. Well, it should be Eyes Wide Shut, actually. Yeah, the Eyes Wide Shut collection. That'll be just an ongoing series. Or an Eyes Wide Snort collection. I like that a little bit better. I'll figure out a name later. Anyway, but this is part of that collection right there. Another irony, though, I want to bring up is he brings up Doom, right, that he was playing in I think he said in May. He just finished playing Doom Eternal, and he ain't talked shit about that game pretty much the whole way through in our current timeline in 2020. And he just finished playing that game in 2016, as well as the example I gave you earlier on with Resident Evil. So just something to think about. Isn't that ironic? Big ups to Tevin.
Videos got tons of views. And I was like, why? And I looked, because when you searched for it in YouTube search, all of a sudden it was the top video. I don't know why. It just happened, okay? But since like the summer...
Wait, but I thought he said he was completely taken out of the directory. I thought he said he doesn't show up in YouTube search, and he just contradicted himself a few minutes later. Womp womp.
None of my stuff shows up in YouTube Google search at all. You can't find... I want to see...
You just said one of your videos just did. And that was back from May, I think he said. And we're in December. What an idiot.
A playthrough of Final Fantasy 15. And you'll type in Final Fantasy 15 gameplay or Final Fantasy 15 walkthrough or let's play Final Fantasy 15. And I'm probably on page 5,723, even though I've done a 50+ hour playthrough of the freaking game.
So you don't know. That's the first thing. And second, because he did so many parts, right? Since he did so many parts of that playthrough, he believes that he should have priority. Garbage is garbage no matter what. And whether you have a small pile of garbage or you have a landfill, it's still garbage. So there's no reason they have to push it. And because you have so many parts of that playthrough that nobody's watching, by the way, why do they feel the need to prioritize you? Didn't think that one out, did you? Wow.
It sucks. This is what YouTube did to me last year with those false copyright strikes and all of that.
Now
crap.
YouTube did it to you? I thought it was all these fucking assholes and shit that did it to you. Now it's YouTube's fault. You gotta pick one, man. You gotta pick one. There's so many contradictions in this video right now. You gotta choose one. Please.
Okay. So again, 2 years in a row, busting my ass the end of the year to cover all these new games, and it didn't really pay out for me, which sucks. And I'll be honest, I'm nervous. Because now what's going to happen, this is what happens every year, we now head into the slowest time of the year, January. January is the deadest month and always is. If I barely...
That's for him, not for other YouTubers. Not for other YouTubers. Most YouTubers who are in Phil's realm, if you will, in his sphere of the gaming industry, excuse me, most of them are hot all year round. They're cooking all year round. And the big months for them usually starts in like August. So let's say July, August, and it goes through till like February. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you got a lot of things going on throughout the holiday season, and then the residuals after the holiday season. So what I'm saying is these people can garner attention all year round, and then the months where they start to peak heavily, right? Or they even meet and excel past expectations is usually between that time period, because all of the summer releases, then going into the holiday season, and then the residuals after the holiday season getting ready to go into like the Super Bowl and stuff like that. So it's so with that being said, for Phil, he has the hardcore begging season, then that drops off. Then like a month or two later, then he gets into the holiday season, which for him, he said it's like November and December. So those 2 months, he gets a huge influx, and then it dies out. That's not healthy. That's not, well, from a business standpoint, that's not healthy. That means you're not garnering any attention except for people's sympathy. Because the hardcore begging season, well, I'm not sorry because it's the truth, but hardcore gaming season / hardcore begging season is just where all the hot new summer releases are. Then the holiday season is where people are feeling generous. That's it. That's essentially sums up his business. And if it's been like that for years, to the point where he's regimented to expect that, that just goes to show how much effort he put into this business to make it better.
Made do in October, November, December when it was supposed to be high, right? What's going to happen in January? Am I going to see my totals go boo into the gutter? I hope not. What I'm hoping now is that we're to the core level of viewer where no matter what I play, I'm still going to get a consistent amount of views, because I can't see another dip. If I see another dip, I'm really in financial trouble. Okay.
But that's a lie, though, because now he's making all that money on Twitch, which goes back to an argument I've made since I kind of came into the game, if you will, is that he looks at YouTube and he looks at Twitch as two separate entities. They're not two pieces that kind of connect with each other to make his overall business. They're both different. YouTube has always been Phil's major moneymaker because it's all he did. Let's be honest. So that's what he expects. He expects that in Patreon to be at a certain level so he can pay his bills. Twitch, he looks at Twitch as extra work. He looks at Twitch as overtime. So that overtime money is money that he can spend at his leisure. So that money don't count as his income. Excuse me, that's extra. That's bonuses, right? That's his raises. That's stuff that goes to a pension if he knew what the fuck that was. That goes to a nest egg that he can spend right away because apparently he doesn't understand what a rainy day fund is. So that's what all that money is. That shit's all extra. That's all spending money. YouTube is supposed to be the one to pay the bills, period. And that's how, and from, I would have to say, since I started watching Tevin, which was many years ago, all the way up till now, at least to me, Phil has, and other detractors as well, but you know what I mean? Phil has always been very cemented on that premise that YouTube is supposed to be there to pay my bills. That's my business, so on and so forth. When he went back to Twitch, that's all bonus money. That money don't count. And when you look at what he's doing right now in his filing, it kind of flows the same way. He's trying to make YouTube and Twitch kind of all the same thing as part of his collective income, but a lot of those extra bonuses, like the tips, for example, he don't claim that, or at least it don't look like it. Patreon, he's not claiming that. Teespring, he's not claiming that. You see what I'm saying? And then you got to think, One Up Box, Loot Crate, all that stuff. I doubt that he went ahead and claimed any of those things either on his taxes. He looks at all of that as bonus money. And the look that Phil has on right now, which is part of our collective greed / begging collection, is the same concept. He agrees with me. Imagine me giving the thumb at Phil and saying, and Phil agrees with me. And Cat too. And certainly Jasper. Because me and Jasper are tight like that. You see how you see how his mindset kind of is? And that's why he's in the trouble he's in now. He always was looking for a way to play the system. Not really knowing what he was doing. But when he got away with it the first time, he kept doing it. And he kept doing it. And he kept doing it. And now, it looks like he's trying to cover up the whole existence of WWE champions. But if he does have to actually put it out there, they were microtransactions. For what, Phil? You don't, do you play, have you ever played the game? Have you ever played it on stream before? Do you have any YouTube videos going over it? Have you done a review going over that mobile game? Have you ever done a review on it? And if Phil was to, hypothetical pignosis, try to do a video on WWE champions, it has to correlate with the time that he was spending all the money on it, and it won't. So then what? Womp womp.
Okay, just being real with you. Now, the good news is, okay, there is some good news here. Patreon seems to be steady. I was nervous back in the summer when all of a sudden my Patreon dipped like crazy, and 1 month we didn't even hit the funding goal for the month. First time ever. Since I told all of you...
in 2017, though, which is like, I started late 2017, but throughout the 2017 year, there was a lot of times that they didn't hit those goals, or they barely hit them. Or, oh, there's a mistake on Patreon that says that we hit the goal, but we really didn't hit the goal. Or, we did hit the goal, but it says that we didn't hit the goal. Stuff like that. It gets really, really wonky in 2017. You can go back and watch some of Tevin's old videos around the time. He talks about it. And as well as Snortbucks goes over it as well. It gets really wonky with that Patreon in 2017. Crazy stuff.
About the serious troubles I've been having in October, the Patreon skyrocketed, and then as I expected, it's kind of going down, but it's still exceeding the goal. So as long as the Patreon stays steady, that's good.
As long as he gets us $1,250 a month. Which is what? Oh, like 15, 16,000 a year? I wouldn't say 15, 16,000. It's like 14. I think it's like 14,000 a year if you think about it. But either which way. Actually, I think I'm actually right. Actually, I am pretty sure I'm right. Here, I'll actually take a look at that in a minute. But he probably will. Who knows if he was claiming that shit? He's certainly not doing it now. But who knows if he's actually claiming all that? And all of that free money, I think he rolls that into the YouTube into his YouTube income, so to speak, metaphorically, because yet again, that right there is it's kind of part of that pignosis. Oh, YouTube and YouTube and PayPal go together, which I agree with. I think all of that does go together. But it is what it is.
So please, by all means, everyone, if you support me, you want to see me keep doing this as a job, please check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Darksydephil, and consider pledging, okay? That's good. So the Patreon is still steady. Twitch now, all of a sudden, I'm going to have a new revenue source in Twitch. So that's a good thing. Now, I don't know if that's going to stay consistent or it was great for the first month and now that's going to taper off too. I have no idea. But at least for the first month here that I've been streaming on Twitch, things are good. All right. So that's the good news. Twitch is increasing income. Great. And Patreon.
Back to the Patreon thing real quick. It was $15,000 a year. 15 grand. And somehow he's still on top of the YouTube money, which he was pulling. Like I said, he was pulling, he's pulling if somewhere between 100K and 100K plus. And he still couldn't figure out a way to get it going. And when you think about later on down the line, once Twitch started to come into play and YouTube started to really taper off, he was making like 40 or 50,000 off Twitch. So he's making 40 or 50,000 off Twitch. I think it went because I think the artist formerly known as Secret Life of DSP did like a small thing about this on Twitter back then, where for I think that was the end of the 2017 year. They said that he made like $97,000, $98,000 for the year between YouTube and Twitch, but they said that there were other outside factors that they didn't put into that. So, you know what I'm saying? So they didn't add everything in. And like I said, they were estimating the amounts. And he still figured out a way to screw all that up. Damn.
Is steady. But I'm really nervous about these first few months of 2017. What is going to happen with me not having high-profile releases to play? Am I going to see a giant dip in, views? Am I going to see a giant dip in revenue now? Because ad revenues are going to drop on YouTube. What's going to happen? I don't know. It's very uncertain and shaky right now, okay? So with that being said, all right, really what I need from you guys right now who are watching is input. I need to know what is going to get you interested in my stuff during this downtime in January? Because the bottom line is once Resident Evil 7 comes out, and then a couple weeks after that, you've got a few more releases in February. There's going to be stuff to occupy people and hook people coming up late January, and then late February, March, April, there's a ton of releases. But I need to get to that point without, completely crapping out on my business here. So what do I do? And really, there were a few things that I was planning on doing, and already it seems like they're not going to pan out. Like, for example, I said, we got downtime. So because we got downtime, I'm going to do Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which is the one Zelda game I never really played. It's kind of the pivotal, critical game in the Zelda franchise because all the future Zelda games kind of split from the timeline that was created by that game, right? And I played it on Monday, and a decent amount of people showed up for the stream, okay? But it's not really, no one cares about it on YouTube, really. It's not doing very well, okay? So obviously what that tells me is that's going to be a niche game. Yes, there is an audience for it, but it's not an audience that's going to be mainstream and be watching it constantly, and it's going to allow my business to keep afloat. Now, I'm already doing Pokemon Moon, and that already was a niche playthrough too. So now we've got two niche Nintendo playthroughs that if that's all that I play for January, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. Seriously, like that's just the reality of it. It's just not going to happen, okay? So that being said, I need to do something different in January. Something that's going to get people excited. Something that's going to bring people back who've maybe been away while I was doing games that they weren't interested in December. And I have a few ideas. All right. Let me express those ideas to everyone so that you understand what my mindset is here. And let's see what people have to say. Okay. First of all, I want to make it abundantly clear. I've said it a million times. People apparently don't believe me. I'm not playing Street Fighter V anymore, okay? Street Fighter V came out with a Season 2. Ooh, Christmas week. Give us more money to unlock another character. We rebalanced the game. And by the way, the consensus is the rebalance is terrible, and people still hate the fucking game. But I digress. I'm not playing any more Street Fighter V. It's a waste of time. The game was poorly developed. The game was poorly released. The game was poorly implemented. The DLC characters were horrible. Everything about the game is terrible. It's the worst competitive Street Fighter ever created. Still, even though they've reduced the input delay and all the issues, it's still garbage. And I'm not wasting my fucking time with garbage. I would much rather play stuff that I want.
And that's another thing, too, I wanted to point out, is that Street Fighter V, Phil had a lot riding on that. He had a lot riding on a brand new Street Fighter game that he can play for the years to come, right? And that he thought he was going to be able to do well at. He was never going to go back onto the tournament scene. But I think he looked at it as a way of, okay, I can prove now that in a modern Street Fighter game or a Marinara Street Fighter game, I can do well in, and so on and so forth. So this was going to be one of those. Essentially, it was supposed to be the chill streams before the chill streams, if you think about it. What happened is he can't compete. The mechanics and everything have changed. His basics that he has from the early Street Fighter games or even Super Turbo, for whatever reason, in his head, it don't click like it does with other people. And he just can't compete. It's funny how the people that he used to play against back in his day, 2005, 2006, 2007, and so on and so forth, they jumped into Street Fighter V and they adjusted. They made adjustments. They survived, adapted, and overcame. He didn't. And why didn't he? Because the game, Super Turbo is obviously slow. You know what I'm saying? It's a slow game, and it gives him a lot of time to think. And he says, "Oh, I'm all about my reactionary. I'm a reactionary gameplay, fighting game player." But he's really not. He's really not. Like, let me give you an example. Like when people like jump in on him, right? His first instinct is to use a move that has the priorities of an uppercut, right? Instead of using a normal that can snuff it out, or having having good placement to where either he can move forward or move back. Excuse me, and cause the move to whiff, or cause him to take a hit, but allows him to recover to where he can block the incoming, or he can block the follow-up. Like stuff like that. For whatever reason, it's always someone jumps in, uppercut. Someone jumps in, uppercut. Uppercut, 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 uppercut for everything. And when he doesn't have that with a certain character, he's vulnerable because he won't use any of the normals to get them off of him. It's really weird that someone who's been playing Street Fighter that long was never able to translate any of that information or any of that knowledge or any of that experience into other games moving forward. It's really, really weird, to be honest with you. And if you look at him now in Super Turbo, he isn't, I mean, I don't think he was ever good, but he certainly isn't great. Well, he was never great, but he's certainly not even good now. He gets beaten out by silly shit that he probably just shouldn't be losing to be honest. He just shouldn't be losing to some of the stuff that he's losing to. It doesn't make sense why he even is. It's really weird. It's really awkward. With that being said, though, on top of that, if you will, one of the major problems with Super Turbo, or not Super Turbo, but with Street Fighter V, is it's extremely poke heavy, and there's a lot of spacing in it. And he's not good at either one. He's not good at poking. He's good at mashing, but he's not good at poking, and he's not good at spacing. Because of that, and to prove some of that to you, actually, go back and look at some of his Street Fighter IV gameplay. Perfect example. He's just not very good at spacing. He's not very good at poke games and whatnot. He's not very good at capitalizing off one hit and hit confirming into combos. He can't do that either. Or he can't do it well, I should say, which is very, very strange because in Super Turbo, you need to try to, every hit that you get, you need to try to make the best of. That's why a couple of nights ago, I guess, or maybe a week ago at the time I'm recording this, he went up against a guy who's on Ryu or Ryu, however you want to pronounce it, was on point. Like, he was nasty with the shit. And Phil was looking at that and he's like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Oh, wow, that's wild. Oh, man, I never learned how to do that. That stuff was before my time. That stuff was done in Super Turbo back in his day. And he just never learned how to do it because it requires a little bit more execution and a little bit more time than what he has to offer. And it's funny because he always complains about the lag on online, right? But what that guy did isn't exactly lag friendly. So either he had to adjust to the lag and then get his timing down to get as much of it as possible. You know what I'm saying? And that guy was able to adjust and make it happen, but Phil can't. These are some of the reasons why he doesn't like Street Fighter V. But what he doesn't realize is Street Fighter V stained his legacy. Let me explain. The reason why is because he gave up Street Fighter V, or no, he gave up Project 7 for Street Fighter V. Now, granted, I am of the theory. Actually, I know it. It's not a Theo theory. It's not exactly a Theo theory. I know he never had any intentions of doing a Project 7. To bring that back again. He never had any intention of doing it. He didn't have the resources. He didn't have any ideas. He had nothing. It was a nice cash grab that netted him $6,000 or $7,000 over his campaign to bring it back, and he pocketed all that money. Street Fighter V fucked him because it wasn't good and whatnot. Because let's be honest, in its early years, it wasn't great. It really wasn't. He didn't stick with it, and he was caught holding the bag because he had so much riding on Street Fighter V to help him in the long term that's gone, and then he fucked all these guys on Project 7. So that was, in Phil's terminology, the double whammy that screwed him to this very day. And the only time you ever see him play Street Fighter V is if he's paid large amounts of money to do it. People sat there and bought him season passes, and he still refuses to play it. That's what the reality is. And that's what happens when you're so narrow-minded, right? And you have no flexibility, you have no versatility, that you get caught into situations like that. He has to depend on games being good than him actually trying to be good at those games. As a Let's Player, ladies and gentlemen, by definition, you're playing a game and you're learning the game as you play. So you're growing you're growing with the game as you're making your way through the game. Phil never understood that concept, and that's why he fails. And that's why he suffers. It's as straightforward as it's just that easy. It's just that straightforward. And for whatever reason, Phil Burnell can't figure that out. And that's why he is where he is. DSPNEWS.
To play and have fun with it than play garbage. And that's the bottom line, is that game is crap, and if people keep supporting it, Capcom will keep making crap instead of making good games, so stop it. Okay, because the thing is, people have been hounding me. Phil, I can't believe you're not playing Street Fighter V anymore. It sucks. I don't play shitty games. I play them to review them, and I'm done with them. I'm not going to go back and back and back to more shit. Like, there's a pile of shit. Oh, look, they sprayed some fucking potpourri scent on it. Should I shove my face right the fuck back into a pile of dog shit? No, I know it sucks. I'm not going back to it and wasting my time. Stop it. I mean, stop. It's so crazy how people are like, I need to go back to it. Phil, you got to keep playing Street Fighter. No, if a game sucks, it sucks. The thing is, there's other fighting games coming out this year that are going to be good. Injustice 2, hopefully Tekken 7, and there may be Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite later this year, right? We'll see, but let's focus on those and stop. Just because there's no fighting game out right now doesn't mean you have to focus in on shit. There's tons of other stuff going on planet Earth that you don't have to waste your time with bad fighting games. Street Fighter V is a bad fighting game. Stop it. Okay. Had to get out off my chest with the amount of people that have been bugging me about it. So, what are my ideas for January? Well, I had a few ideas. The first was, gee, I could do a throwback RPG playthrough, because now would be the opportunity to do one before we get caught up with so many new releases that I never get to do another RPG. And I was thinking Final Fantasy IV. It's not going to happen. The bottom line is right now, everyone, basically it's off the table, because I'm already playing Pokemon Moon, and I'm already playing Zelda, and both look like they're in playthroughs that aren't getting much interest at all, so I can't do a third playthrough of something that I'm really dying to do just for it to get no interest. That's the bottom line. And I know people are disappointed, because when I do finally play Final Fantasy IV, it's going to be my second ever walkthrough, not a playthrough, because I've played Final Fantasy IV so many times. It's the first Final Fantasy game I ever played. I've played it a million times. I'm going to be able to do it in enough detail to do a walkthrough for you. Just like I did with Final Fantasy 6 years ago. But I can't do it now, because now I'm already caught up with too much stuff that isn't getting attention. And I'm not going to stop playing those games just because I want to start another one. So, Final Fantasy 4...
So, literally, he's using his wage... He's not going to wage quit because he don't want to get shitted on. But he's not going to start a game that is garnering interest that people would want to see, because then he would have to quit one or both of those games. That's going to make him continue to look bad. So, you see how... It's little things like this that he uses to turn the audience on each other. And he does it quite a bit. He doesn't get away with it as much now because he can just use detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. He can use them. He can use them. But back in the day, he used to manipulate his audience against one another. Sorry, and he never. And the fact that no one, not really no one, but not enough people called him out on it surprises me. And when I mean people calling him out, by the way, I mean people that's in his audience, people that's in his fan base. The cult is different. They're all idiots. They're all going to just go along with it either which way. But people that are in his audience and have been around for a long time, the fact that they never called him out on it is weird, because this isn't the first example of him doing it. He's done it before. He's done it plenty of times before. I don't know, man.
It's on hold. It'll eventually happen. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. Okay. And some people are like, and this is really annoying, I'm going to call this out too. Why doesn't Phil go back and finish Scarface? All right, I'll tell you why. Let's see. The game sucks. It's just fucking an endless grind of bullshit. I hated a lot of it. It was funny because it was kind of like Final Fantasy 15 in a lot of ways. There were
That's when he rage quit that. I remember that shit. And then he threw the shit behind his dusty love seat. He said, fuck that game. I remember that. I think it was for the Xbox too.
Moments of greatness where you could
Xbox 360, I think. Sorry.
See where Scarface kind of inspired some of the best things about these open world sandbox games of the future, but the fact that there's such a repetitive grind of garbage gameplay in there for fundraising ruins the game, okay? And people are like, why don't you go back to it? It was a good game, it was getting views. Wrong! The streams weren't getting views, and the videos on YouTube weren't getting views. No one really
already talked about that. You were oversaturating them. You were oversaturating them with the idea of you guys have to come out and support all the streams and you got to watch all the videos, idiot. You'd already addressed this, and if he didn't do it in this video, he did in the video that I've already done before this. So you already know that was a problem, which is the reason why you went to Twitch in the first place. And yet you're still going to bring it up and throw it in their faces, being like, no, you guys weren't supporting it because I expect you to do both, not one or the other. And all that overlap is what screwed him over. Okay.
I cared about this playthrough except for guess who? The idiot kids who hate me, who want to see me rage at this game that I don't like, and then make montages about.
Now we're going to demonize the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. Here we go. Darksydephil presents My Failure because it's Tevin's fault and the detractors.
All over the internet. Well, guess what? They already did it. Even though I didn't finish the fucking playthrough, they still made montages about it all over the internet, and that's the only reason anyone wants to see me go back, for those stupid negative reasons. So fuck that game. I'm not going back to it. It can rot in fucking hell. The game sucks. There you go. So what can I do then in January? Well, I really, at this point, I've got one idea. Now, I'm totally open to other ideas, all right? But I have one idea, and it's not what you're thinking, because a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to play Kingdom Hearts. Wrong. Dude, ladies and gentlemen, Kingdom Hearts is another fucking RPG. It's another niche title. It's another game that's not going to get attention, right? It's another game that's like a downtime thing that I would balance with something. I can't play 5 niche games and balance them all at the same time. I will go out of business. And by the end of January, when Resident Evil 7 comes out, you'll see, sorry everyone, I'm off the internet and can't make videos anymore because I basically didn't make enough money to pay my bills. Therefore, I'm now in financial crisis and I have to get 2-3 fucking jobs and quit YouTube. So it's not going to happen.
He's in a financial crisis right now and he's not working 2 or 3 jobs. Nor is Catherine. See, all that gaslighting didn't really get him anywhere, did it?
Okay? I can't be doing all this shit, all right? I need to do something that's going to interest people, that's going to get people excited to watch my stuff again at a month when generally there's
It's not a matter of you trying to gain people's interest, it's trying to keep it. That's your problem. Because you overhype everything anyway, or you do everything out of desperation, but you can't keep people's attention. That's the problem. That's why that vest and hat combo dumb shit exists. He can't keep people's attention. The only way he can do it is by making a spectacle out of himself. So he's literally humiliating himself just so he can get his little $100 a day. Think about that. To make his $100 a day, he's willing to humiliate himself by putting a vest on. And even though he doesn't look at it as humiliation, if you look at all the people he is shitted on for all the things that they do, or how they decided to present themselves with their streams and their videos, those people are successful. Those people are well liked. Those people are recognized. Look at Phil. Oh, the guy who masturbated on stream, who's $500,000 in debt, and now has to put on a vest to make $100 a night. That's his pity bucks for the day. Or his pity bucks for the stream. And he's okay with that. He expects it now. Now we're at this point where, oh, guys, we're on like a 6 or 7 stream streak. You know, of you guys going ahead and making the goal so I can put the vest on. That's what this has come down to. Originally, oh, we're only going to do it for nostalgia. Oh, now we're only going to do it for special occasions because that's what makes it special. To now, you guys are on a 6 or a 7 day streak of hitting the goal so I can put this vest on for you guys. That's how pathetic we've become, ladies and gentlemen.
Nothing else going on in gaming. My idea is something that I've been playing with in my head for a while, and something that I've wanted to do and really didn't have an opportunity to do, and now I'll maybe have the opportunity to do it. There's a game franchise out there that when I started to play it, way back when, it's almost like famous across the internet because I didn't understand it. The game doesn't do a good job of explaining itself, right? In fact, a lot of the things about this game franchise are never explained. You have to figure it out for yourself or have someone...
Minecraft? Ooh, is this how you try to pitch Minecraft? I'm assuming this is Minecraft. I don't know. We're actually kind of watching this together, so...
Tell you. It's a game franchise that at first I hated so badly that I just left it for an extended period of time. But then eventually I came back to it. I grew to love it. And now it's actually one of my favorite series that I've ever done on the internet. So much so that I've played every single sequel and game kind of in
No,
that.
that's not Minecraft. I should have listened to him a little closer when he said it was a series, I think.
Continuous series since they've been released. Of course, what I'm talking about is the games from Software. Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, and of course, I'm sure Bloodborne 2 is probably in development right now, right?
Wait, hasn't he played a shitload of that up to this point? We're at the end of 2016. And the first video that Tevin made on him was criticizing him for basically grinding and overpowering his character. So he's been playing it for years. He's how many redemption runs in our current timeline? Excuse me. How many redemption runs has he done of some of those games? And he says he hated the series and he didn't like them, this, that, and third. No, he didn't like getting called out for fucking trying to game the system and overgrinding his character so it didn't make him look like a total ass clown when he plays it. The fuck? I thought he was really talking about Minecraft. But then he said series, and I was like, wait a second, you're not talking about Minecraft. And then I would have thought there'd be like a Patreon pitch where he's like, hey, you know, you guys pay me such and such, I'll play Minecraft again. But that's right, that's what Pocket Check's for. So I'll get that started back up once I get on my rhythm. Wow. He's shitting on that now at the end of 2016. And how many times has he played those games, or how many redemption runs has he done of those games between now and then, or between then and now, I should say. What an asshole. What an asshole.
So that being said, the one thing I've never done is actually done a legitimate playthrough of Dark Souls. I just never did it. What did I do? I flubbed it. The first time I tried to play the game, I didn't understand it. I didn't even know the basic gameplay mechanics of how the game was supposed to...
But it does tell you how to play the game. It tells you as you kind of go through it. It tells you how to do this, how to do that. There's an option menu too. What the fuck? Even back then, he was expecting to be handheld. Yikes. That's pretty sad.
Freaking work. I ended up sucking ass in this game. And eventually...
So it's a bad game because you're bad at it? Wow, that's surprising.
I ended up quitting it, not knowing where to go, what to do, and just being so frustrated, I said, fuck this, and I stopped playing it, right?
No, you rage quitted it.
So, then I went back to it 2 years later when I started live streaming in early 2013. This was over 3 years ago, by the way. And then, again, I still didn't understand the gameplay mechanics. I still didn't get it because I hadn't played other games in the series yet. And really what happened was I ended up having a hand-holding kind of run where people were like, you need to do this, you need to do this, and they would show me what to do.
Now, this is the reason why Papa Vera exists now. This is why hand holding in general exists now, because he correlates streaming in difficult games as you need you need to be handheld through these games. You know what I'm saying? You need people to be watching the streams and telling you how to play your way through them because the game is too hard. He established that back in 2013. That's when he developed this mindset, and he's never given it up, even to now. So if you guys wanted to get the origins of hand holding on stream, anyway, you're seeing it right here. Well, he's referring it to you now, I should say.
Through summoning people, or people just through the stream chat explaining blatantly to me, this is what you do. And honestly, I didn't legitimately beat the game. It's true, not even close. You know, that was one of the biggest assist playthroughs I've ever done in my life. But now, I have legitimately played Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Demon Souls to some extent, although people did, that was the second game that I played in the series, so people explained a lot about it to me. But,
so you were handheld.
Bloodborne, Dark Souls, I've done these games now, and now I have this kind of education in what to expect and how to play the games. The bottom line is, I don't even remember everything about Dark Souls 1. I remember a little bit, but not tons, and I get, like, recollections in my head about certain parts of the game, but not others, and I guarantee you, if I were to replay Dark Souls 1, I would lose and die and rage and suck, which is what people...
Now, you're hearing all this, ladies and gentlemen, because this is him mentally trying to fight off, this is how you don't play. Which is probably the reason why he was scared to play those games in the first place, and probably why he's still scared to play them now, even though he does play them. But you know what I mean? That's why he's overly cautious. Because every game he plays, he knows it's going to turn into a this is how you don't play. And it pisses him off. But he knows he can't do nothing about it. Which is wild. Which leads to another theory that that's the reason why he sandbags on games, or that's the reason why he purposely draws games out, or that's the reason why he purposely makes his streams boring. So whoever it is that's going through the footage will be like, man, this is just too much dead air, there's too much of this, there's too much of that, I'm just going to quit. I'm not even going to bother doing it. The problem is, Phil, is there's a lot of people in the detractor, troll, hater, and critic community that aren't you. They're not quitters. You know what I'm saying? They're not quitters. So with that being said, and since when Phil looks at himself, he believes that's how the world is. If things are too hard, you just quit, which is a wild way of looking at life, by the way. That's what he expects for everybody else who makes fun of him on a daily basis. So basically what his thought is, give them enough mundane shit that they wouldn't want to go through it, and they'll eventually leave him alone. And that's just not the reality. And you would think he's been going through this long enough that he should already know that, but he don't. He doesn't. And I think that's the reason why pre-streams were as long as they were. Or well, as long as they are at times. As he's trying to purposely make himself come across as boring, thinking that that's what's going to make people to stop. And in actuality, it's the complete and total opposite. The longer you do it, you make your pre-stream, Phil, the more goodies eventually you're going to slip. Because his mind laps a lot. A lot. And because of that, it makes him vulnerable.
Why? Right? But at the same time, there's a chance that I'll actually do a lot better than the first run that I ever did, because now I kind of understand the freaking game. So, that being said, I think I would maybe like to do a second run, a legitimate run in Dark Souls 1. One where I'm not constantly summoning and I'm not getting tons of advice from stream chat and stuff like that. The question is, if I did a second run through Dark Souls 1, would people watch? Would you show up for stream? Would you subscribe and cheer? Would you show up on YouTube and watch the videos on YouTube? Right?
And again, going back to another point, this is a mindless Phil. Like, just lack of common sense is just, he's devoid of all that. Ladies and gentlemen, why the fuck would you go back and watch a fucking mundane playthrough of a game if you already showed up on stream? If you watched him completely stream a game, right? That was probably garbage. But if you watched him do an entire stream of a game, why would you go back on YouTube and then rewatch it? Or, to give him a little bit of wiggle room, why would you go back and rewatch all of it if you were already there on stream for it? That don't make no sense. And there's no incentives of doing it, except for what Phil thinks is to help him out. Well, fuck all that. You were already there on stream. You showed up to the stream. You may have given him some money. You may have subbed. but then you have to go back and click ads on videos to help him too?
Or is this going to be another case where everyone's excited and tells me to do something, and I start it, and within the first couple of sessions, everyone's gone, you know? And that's the problem here is, how do I hook attention? How do I hook your attention and keep you going? I would think that a game like Dark Souls would hook everyone's attention and keep them going, because this is a game I have history with. You know, I played it when it was new, and I failed, and I
Redemption run.
quit. I came back and kind of cheated, and now I'm here to do it legitimately.
Cheated? No, okay, I was waiting for him to actually reference to it to make sure. That's the one where Tevin and the community at large pretty much called him out on. Because, like I said, he overgrinded to overpower his character so he could breeze through the game. Phil defended it, saying that, oh, it's not cheating. I didn't do anything wrong, because if grinding is a bad thing, why would they allow me to do it in a game? If grinding is illegal, then why is it allowed to be done in the game? I want you to think about that for a minute. There's no mechanic or there's no strat that says, hey, if your character is underpowered, go out there and grind and it's okay. We legalize that. That was something that people discovered they could do. And most people have gotten really smart. And if they do grind at certain games, they go after like either they go after hard enemies, or they go back and they grind bosses over and over again. And even then, in certain games, they cap that shit after a while. You know what I'm saying? League of Legends was, I don't know if League of Legends still is notorious for that, but they used to be. You know what I mean? So just to give you guys an example, but he didn't call it cheating when he did it. He said that it's a strat, which it kind of is, but you know what I mean? It's something that's in the game, and if the game allows me to do it, then it must be legal. But that's not something that the game told you could do. That's something that you watched other YouTubers do, and then you picked up on it, which is what happened. He saw another YouTuber do it, and he was like, oh, wow, that's a good idea. And then he started doing it himself. That's the reality. And the argument was, by the way, is it wasn't the fact that he grinded off camera, by the way. He did all that in his own time, which is funny because Phil says now, oh, I don't play video games on my off time, which we know is a lie. But he grinded off camera so he could overpower his character and everything. The complaint from the community at the time wasn't that he sat there and grinded off camera. It's that you grinded off camera with a character that you're just breezing through, and that's not entertaining. That's not entertaining. But Phil didn't want to be laughed at. He didn't want to be mocked for his inability to learn how to play games properly or learn as he goes through a game. So it's a matter of what's entertaining or his ego. And his ego, more often than not, will win. And that's what the complaint was. How dare you go ahead and do that and put it online and think that's going to be entertaining gameplay, and then get mad that you're not getting views on it.
Years later, you know what I mean? But I don't know. A lot of times I have these ideas, okay, and they don't turn out so well. What I'm thinking,
because they were just a bad idea,
is I could start playing it as early as next week and balance it with my year-end.
As early as next week? Oh wow, you must have been desperate. You must have not had a goddamn thing going on if you're willing to play it as early as next week. Yikes.
Series, and I'll kind of balance it also with the other playthroughs that I'm doing that are more niche downtime playthroughs, and therefore it won't be necessarily so much that I, that it doesn't finish by the time Resident Evil 7 comes out. I mean, worst case scenario, we already know that I'm probably going to finish Pokemon Moon within 2 to 3 more sessions, so that'll be out of the way. So me balancing year-end series with Dark Souls and Ocarina of Time may be the way to go, I'm thinking. But again, I need kind of commitment from people that they're going to show up and they're going to watch, and this is going to be something interesting.
I need commitment from people. Commitment. I want you guys to think about that as you go along in general in your travels through Goutopia, right? Because this right here is one of the key points that Phil wants from people. Commitment. And that commitment is committed to him, you committing to him that you're going to help him make money. You're either going to give it to him, well, you're going to give it to him, and or you're going to go ahead and participate in the ways of him making money. And on top of that, you need to be there for him morally too. You need to be there on stream supporting him so he can look at the stream numbers and knows that he's great, or he's as great as he thinks he is. And you got to be there for him for the hand holding. That's a lot. When you think about commitment, It's not just showing up, hey, great job, Phil, I gotta go. He wants you, it's damn near he wants you there all the time. And he wants you there not to just be a fan or not to be just a casual viewer. He wants you to be fully committed to him, where you're not really watching other people. You're really only focused on and watching him. And that's sick. You know what I mean? You can talk shit all you want about me and how much time that I put into this. It's one of my hobbies. I enjoy doing it. But I don't demand for people to watch my videos or my broadcasts. I don't demand you guys to give me money. I don't demand you guys to give me more support. No detractor does. But Phil do. And he's done it for years. Even when he says that he doesn't, there's somebody that can refer back to when he did. And why he did it. And even prove why he kept doing it. You got to think about that. That's why there's a new detractor popping up every day. Well, or almost every day. There's a reason why the detractor community is big as it is. There's a reason why detractor Twitter is as big as it is. There's a reason why he has his own section on Kiwi Farms. There's a reason for these things, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you're a detractor troll, hater, critic, or just someone who enjoys watching the trash fire, there are people who join into that every single day, and they do it for a reason. So, just something to think about. If you think it's a waste of time and you don't see the point of it, no problem. I'm not going to criticize you for that. I don't think anybody will. I'm not going to justify it to you either. I don't have to. You sit there, if you choose to, sit there and watch the video, take from it what you take from it, and move on. If you don't like the way I did it, that's fine. I can go ahead and recommend you people who do it better. And if you still don't see it, because it's not about convincing you. If you still don't see it, then you still don't see it. Move on and be safe in your travels. That's it. Phil, on the other hand, was shit on you for not recognizing his greatness. I just don't care that much. At the end of the day, I still have my opinions, and as long as I still have an opinion, I'm going to put the opinion out there. For good, bad, or otherwise. And that's the reality. And that's the difference.
You're going to like, because if it ends up being another flop, I don't know what else to do in January. I'll be honest here with everyone.
Which goes back to what I just said. He didn't have anything else going on. That's why he was willing to start it next week. Because he got nothing else going on. Mr. Businessman, who has all these plans and all these ideas, don't got shit going on. And is desperate now that, hey, if I play this game on Twitch, I need you guys to be able to be over there with your wallet. Sorry. I need you guys to be ready to commit to me in this playthrough. Womp womp.
Half my time for the next few weeks is going to be busy with year-end series, which, by the way, is how I'm going to close this video. I'm going to talk about the year-end series because I got an announcement about those right now, okay? But half the day, every day, I'm going to be working on these year-end series, whether it's my most disappointing games of the year, the funniest moments countdown, and then the Game of the Year awards. And those take weeks to go through. It's going to be probably this week, next week, the week after, and probably even into the second week of January until I finally finish those up. And now I'll have more time to do more gameplay, okay?
Which, this is stupid too. A lot of this is stupid, to be honest, but this is stupid. This year-end series thing that he used to do, he don't really do it now, but he used to do, if this idiot right here had any semblance of intelligence, he would literally tell people to vote on their best moments and go ahead and throw timestamps at him on his forums, which you would think would be one of the places he would have. He would literally have a thread saying year-end series contributions. Not money, Phil, but where people actually go and actually submit either clips of some of the best parts of your playthroughs or whatnot, or timestamps of it, and then you would take those, download them from your site, and go ahead and compile it throughout the year. And then you cut back what you don't want, you keep what you do want, and then you put it into those videos. Because how the fuck are you gonna have a year-end series, right? In like April of the following year. All of that should be ready by January, at the very least. He's not talking about having that shit out probably till, even though he says week this, week that, week this, week that. In actuality, he probably is going to drag that shit out. So weeks turn into months. So he's talking. So like he should. So let's say this. He should have all that ready by the beginning of January, at least second week. In actuality, he may not have it ready till like February or March. What's the point? And the thing is because he won't think ahead, right? And he won't utilize what's around him, which is his Twitter and his website. That's the reason why he struggles. And he makes it seem like, oh, I got to do all this hard work and I got to go through this and I got to go through that. Because you're not smart. You choose to work harder and not smarter. And because of that, you suffer. Because of that, you suffer. This isn't clown mode shit. This is easy. This is relatively easy. Granted, he's going to have to take a couple of days to siphon through a lot of that, but the idiot only works 4 hours a day anyway. So who cares? Just throwing it out there.
So that being said, I can't start Dark Souls 1 and no one's watching and no one's watching Zelda and no one's watching anything. I just can't. I need to know, is this something that people are going to be interested in? Do you like this idea? The return to Dark Souls 1, an actual legitimate run. If not, I need like good ideas. And I know some people would say, oh, why don't you play Jack 3? Why don't you do this down to like, why don't you play Assassin's Creed Rogue? Because the bottom line is those aren't going to put butts in seats. Those are going to be downtime, niche playthroughs, things that will get kind of a little bit of attention from a small group of people, and I can't keep doing that kind of stuff during downtime. I need to get projects going that are going to get people excited again and reinvigorated to come back to my stuff, especially after a month like December, where it was a lot of stuff that a lot of people weren't really interested in, okay? So I need...
What you're hearing right here, ladies and gentlemen, is what a lot of people refer to his begging. Because he's done this pretty much his whole career. Whenever views got low, especially once money came into play with YouTube, whenever views got low, he had to come up with little gimmicks like this to get people to come out there and support him. Or he had to guilt trip people into coming out there and supporting him. He had to ask for people to recommit to him so he could keep moving forward with his business and with his lifestyle, essentially. That's begging. Whether he was begging for money directly or begging for you guys to come out and support him, whether Teespring, Patreon, Loot Box, One-Up Box, let's see, Twitch, YouTube views, his donation link on PayPal, same shit. It was all begging. And he's been doing it damn near, and he did it before YouTube actually started, well, YouTube gaming started to make him money. Because he's been making money off his vlog channels at the very beginning.
Ideas. Do you like the Dark Souls idea balanced with Zelda and year-end series for January? Or do you have a better idea? If you have a better idea, feel free to share it in the comments of this video, on Twitter at TheKingOfHateVlogs, email me, darksydephil@hotmail.com. Let me know, because I need help right now to get attention back. I know that once the new releases hit, as usual, people will come back and start checking stuff out, but I can't wait. I can't wait a month for Resident Evil 7 to come out and make no money for the month. I just can't do it. You know what I mean?
Now, keep in mind, this goes back to something that a lot of people point out about him blatantly lying. Okay, G Money on Twitter, he's a member of GTG Network and Productions. He brings it up that like this guy has some like 70,000 videos online. His videos generate money all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? And especially since he's still under machinima. Well, even if he wasn't, most of his videos that haven't been blocked worldwide because of copyrighted shit is protected. And as long as they're online and people are watching him, he's generating some money from it. So what the fuck is he talking about that, oh, if I go a month without any new releases, I'm not going to make any money that month? That's like blatant lie. He's just not going to make all the big money that he wants to make. He'll make plenty. He'll make enough to satisfy his needs. You know what I mean? Like to pay his bills. But he won't have that extra money for him and Panda to go off and splurge on and try to flex what they would call their wealth, right? That's what he's really talking about, to sustain his lifestyle, which is more than what he needs, and certainly well over what he deserves. That's what he means.
I mean, being real, I have to keep going here. And that's kind of the situation I'm in, where I want to keep doing this. I am enjoying what I'm doing on a daily basis, or else I wouldn't do it, right? I've loved covering all these new releases for you guys. I really had a lot of fun with my extended playthrough of Final Fantasy 15 and all that stuff. But it's kind of like, now that I've got downtime, I don't know what to do anymore with this downtime. How do I fill it? How do I find things that people are going to enjoy and projects that people want versus something that a very small, select, verbose group of people want, but the people don't actually show up to watch on a daily basis. That's my problem, is getting people to show up every day, okay? All right. So that's that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the year-end series, and that'll end this video. As of tonight, right now, when I finish this video, and as I'm uploading it, I'm going to create the polls on TheKingOfHate.com on which I need you guys and gals to vote on the funniest moments of 2016. People have been nominating these all year long. I'm going to take a personal look at them tonight, write them down, okay? I'm going to probably narrow it down to say, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 moments, and I'm going to make polls where you get to vote, okay? So based on your votes, it's going to determine what were the funniest moments of the year. That data will be used in my fan-voted funniest moments of the year countdown, starting as soon as I finish the most disappointing moments of the year countdown. Speaking of which, that countdown is next, and that's going to start as soon as I get a chance. So tonight, I'm probably going to end up doing the funniest moments stuff. Tomorrow, I'll probably begin work on the most disappointing moments countdown, and maybe I'll even have a video out about it on Friday. Maybe start.
He's dumb. Like I said, he could have done that throughout the year, and then all he has to do is siphon through what's already been picked out. You know what I'm saying? And then since he has his own form, he can have people vote on those different categories for those different games. So, for example, all right, this game right here, Dark Souls, funniest moments and most disappointing moments, have all of them tallied out, and then have them vote on it, and then lock that thread, right? Next, and then keep doing that for each and every game. And then keep having them vote, and then lock that thread up. So then at the end of the year, all he has to do is go back to those threads, because he has full access to it, and then pull those, and then goes through and chooses what he wants. Now, and so instead of him having to go look for what he considers funny moments or most disappointing moments, right? He already has it all right there at his leisure. And then him and Panda just go through them. Done. It cuts his work by, I would say, by well over half. Well over half.
The countdown on Friday, right? And then maybe continue it next week. We'll see. Oh, excuse me. Let me take that back. It definitely won't be Friday, because Friday I'm actually going out and doing my errands. It would be Saturday night where I may start that countdown. Okay. So that's the deal. The disappointing games of 2016 are the first year-end countdown. And the poll for funniest moments is coming up, and that's going to be the second countdown, so you need to start voting tonight, okay? When I get the poll live, or the polls live, I'll try to either put the descriptions and the links, or the links in the description of this video. I'll tweet them out. I'll do everything I need to get the word out there so that you can get active and start voting on that stuff, because I really do need, obviously, it's your votes, your nominations, your votes. I need your votes in order to determine what the funniest moments are, okay? And then Game of the Year awards will be the last thing, so 3 year-end series this year, okay? All right, that is it. Thanks for listening. I hope now that you're more up on what's going on. Thanks for the great Twitch stuff. Let's try to keep that up, because now that it's slowing down, I'm nervous. Uh-oh, what if this Twitch revenue goes away? Do I want to stream every day? And that's what I'm going to be faced with if the streaming doesn't end up being profitable every day. So, sub, use, bits to cheer, all that stuff on Twitch. Please keep that going, and I'll keep streaming. YouTube, it's slow. I don't know what to do to turn it around, which is why I'm trying to get your feedback. Do you think a Dark Souls run would fix that? Or do you think, no, I got to do something different? I don't know. I'm looking for your feedback, okay? All right, that's it, everyone. Thank you for watching. And I will hopefully see you, all this week for new stuff. Tomorrow's going to be patron stuff, where I do multiplayer with patrons. Friday is probably going to be the continuation of either Pokemon or Zelda. And we'll go from there, all right? That's it, everyone. Peace out. Thank you.
This was so good. This was so good. Lot to unwrap, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a second and whatnot, and let me straighten all this stuff up. See you guys in a few. Not even a few. I'll see you guys in a minute. right, ladies and gentlemen. So where are we at with all of this? Wow. I didn't realize that this was going to fall into place as well as it did, as it pertains to the last broadcast or the last video. But it worked. It actually fell in pretty well. As it pertains to his move from YouTube to Twitch, it was strictly for money. Tevin has said that plenty of times. A lot of detractors have said that. So that's really nothing to be surprised about. And the jump was fast because, like I said, the video that came out before this one, which went over his contract negotiations and addressing MCN drama, that came out on the 16th. This video's from the 28th. So literally, you're talking 12 days. 12 days, and he had already made the jump to Twitch. Because on the 16th, he said he hadn't gone to Twitch yet. He said he was still considering his options. But he said eventually he was going to have to. Well, that eventually was probably a week, if even that. I think he probably already reached out to Machinima before the video on the 16th about contract negotiations to get his channel reactivated and to put him in position with his to make sure he still had his partnership, which he did. That he was still partnered, I should say, which he did. He didn't do anything to lose it. He just deactivated his account and took his ball and ran home like a bitch. So that's what the situation is with that. So his streaming the move to Twitch was strictly about money and nothing else. Because, yet again, why would he interact with people if he didn't have to? And YouTube, it was easy because it was all in one spot. And then they started turning against him. Then at the same time, hey, Phil, you can make way more money if you go to Twitch. He's there. So all that talk about I do this because I love it, I don't do it for profit, I don't do it for money, is a blatant goddamn fucking lie. And he should be called out for that on the regular, to be honest. All right, and then inputs on January of 2017. He had, it just goes to show how limited he is as an individual. You sit there and he's talked for years about this is his business, and he built it from the ground up, and it's a one-man show, and so on and so forth, yada yada yada. And in actuality, it was probably never really the content. He wanted people, the content is what he uses to promote himself. He wants people to be invested in him, not the content. You come out and watch a Darksydephil video or a Darksydephil stream because you like Darksydephil, not because you give a fuck necessarily about the game. You know what I'm saying? He uses the games as a lure to bring people in and like him, to be invested in him, to care about him, not necessarily the game. And that's why people call it a cult, because that's what cult leaders want. They want you to be invested in them and in their beliefs, and then you invest yourself wholeheartedly into their belief system. That's how a cult works. Phil Burnell's no different. Now, whether he realizes it or not, I'm sure he does. But at first, he probably didn't until DSP Cult Leader came out and was like, hey, this is what he's really doing to you guys. This is really what he's trying to project to you. You need to wake the fuck up. So, and sometimes, sadly, there are heroes in the detractor community at one time or another who a lot of what they said fell on deaf ears. And I hope, at least in some small way, that I can try to turn that around and try to bring interest back to those people and back to that content. You know what I mean? So you can see Phil Burnell for what he was. I want to show you guys, if I can, as best I can. You guys can go back and see what he tried to suppress. It's stuff like that what Agent Proper does too, and whatnot. Because he likes going over old content too sometimes. And I think that stuff needs to be seen. And that stuff needs to be talked about. Because these are aspects of Phil Burnell. And a lot of that, what he's done in the past, as I've told you, is what he does now. And what he'll continue to do in the future. At the end of the day, he doesn't give a fuck about games. He gives a fuck about what games can do for him. And that's what the reality is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I think you guys are really going to like the next video. Because now we're going to touch on one of those subjects that needs to be addressed. That needs to be dealt with, if you will. Right? And I think you guys will like it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News 2nd edition. I've been your host. Take care of yourselves. Also, don't forget to check out the official Snortbucks Coffee Twitter account, as well as the Goutopian Museum. Excuse me, the Goutopian Museum of Unnatural Art. I will leave the links to both of the Twitter accounts down in the description. Hopefully you check them out, you'll see what you like, and if you choose to follow, please do. Thank you very much. Later, guys.